The Knicks have won 7 straight, pushing Miami for the division lead. But Grant Hill and the central runner-up Detroit Pistons are there and waiting and bracing for New York. Knicks Pistons, next on TBS.
Kid, you got the talent, but you...
The following is an exclusive presentation of Turner Sports.
In the days of the bad boys, defense ruled. Joe Dumars and running mate Isaiah Thomas propelled Detroit to back-to-back championships. Now with a similar style of tenacious defense, this rebuilt Piston team has been the surprise story of the NBA. And a rejuvenated veteran has found a new running mate in superstar Grant Hill. Tonight, New York, along with former Piston Allen Houston, return to Motown. After off-season roster moves, this new-look Knicks team is beginning to gel. They have reeled off 7 consecutive wins. Tonight, Ewing and company hope to cool off the red-hot Pistons. The NBA on TBS welcomes you to the Palace of Auburn Hills. And here in Michigan, we have a fine crowd on hand tonight as the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons meet for the first time this year. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, along with Hubie Brown and Dick Versace. The New York Knicks defeated a tough Utah Jazz team last night at Madison Square Garden and have now won 7 in a row. They bring in Allen Houston, the former Piston, back to with his former team for the first time against the Piston team that has shocked everyone. Right now, Detroit has the 4th best record in the NBA. Houston left the Pistons for the Knicks. Everyone thought, I would think, that the Pistons were going to fade out of the picture.
Absolutely right, Dick. But you got to give them credit. 5 players averaging double figures. They have offense, defense. They have a +7 differential, which is 5th best in the league. Then they are taking advantage of the sub-500 teams, 13-0. But the heart and soul of this team, their 3 perimeter positions. Grant Hill, first on the team in points, first in rebounds, first in assists. Now, where did the points come from with the absence of Allen Houston? Dumars is up 5 over a year ago at 16. Lindsey Hunter up 5 at 14 over 9 a year ago. Where is it basically coming? You can see the 3-point shooting. Dumars #1 in the league.
Now, Doug Collins has made a lineup change tonight. Rick Mahorn, the 16-year veteran, will start at the center spot, and Otis Thorpe, will move from center over to power forward. What about that?
Well, Dick, you have to do that anytime you play the Knicks because of Patrick Ewing as well as Charge Oakley. And what you need is the physical presence. At 6'9" and 260, you're having that, the bumping and grinding. So it's an excellent move by Doug.
Now, Hubie, the Knicks, of course, made a lot of changes during the offseason. They struggled for a while. They've now won 7 in a row, he said, beating Utah last night. What has been the key to what has been the biggest surge of the year for the Knicks?
Well, I think people have got to give them a chance, Dick. 3 new starters. 9 of their 14 players are new to this team. And then, in this 7-0 run, they're getting it together. Plus 13 points. Plus 6 rebounds a game. And then they're holding the opposition to 40% shooting. That sounds like the old Knicks. But then the key guy is back. They have a defensive stopper at the point position in Chris Giles. He gives you 11 points. The assists are there. He is a dangerous 3-point shooter. And you put his total game together, and now all of a sudden, it's nice chemistry.
All right, last year, the Knicks swept the Pistons in 4 straight. We'll see what happens in their first encounter. When we come back, we'll be joined by Vince Cellini and Cheryl Miller in our studios in Atlanta. Coming up, it'll be the Knicks and the Pistons.
From the people who brought you the Ernie Johnson Christmas album. This is the NBA on TBS. I'm Vince Cellini, joined by the sassy Cheryl Miller. And let's get serious. This is your NBA health update. A good magic trick would be making the pain disappear. Orlando today placing Penny Hardaway on the injured list with tendonitis in his troublesome left knee. That means he's out at least 5 games. Will be reevaluated next week. Today, Orlando replaced Penny with Kenny, signing guard Kenny Smith as a stopgap. Smith began his season with Detroit before being waived back on November 23rd. The other Hardaway on hiatus, Tim Hardaway of Miami. First quarter last night in a loss to Indiana, Hardaway buckles near midcourt. A lower back strain showed improvement today, but did not practice. He's listed as day-to-day. Status will be updated tomorrow after a shoot-around in preparation for Utah. More on the NBA health beat. The Nets' Jason Williams, the NBA's leading rebounder, banging his right knee. Not that time he hit the deck against Toronto. The next time, colliding with Sharon Wright. Still played 41 minutes, 18 rebounds, but will have an MRI done tomorrow. The fear is possible fractured right kneecap. In any event, Williams out tonight against the Cavs. Ditto Sean Bradley, who has a sprained knee. Meanwhile, the entire Los Angeles Laker club, they're dealing with bruised egos.
Yes.
They blew a 19-point fourth-quarter lead, losing to Chicago in overtime tonight in Milwaukee. And Cheryl, can they put this thing behind them and go?
Well, Dale Harris was hoping that his team would be able to put the loss behind him. He said, look, guys, we got to find some positives out of it. But they have two strikes going into tonight's game. Number one, this is a young team that typically has a lot of talent, but against the bigger teams, they play extremely well, and then against the lesser opponents, they lose. The second big key coming in has been their back-to-back. In the second game, 1-5, but the point production, 108 to 84, a huge drop-off. Tonight's game, Ben, simply is going to be a big character test for the Lakers. Very important in the first quarter for this team to match the intensity level of the Bucks. Otherwise, the game's over in the first quarter.
All right, trying to go 2-5 now on the back-to-back. And in fairness to the Lakers, they played 7 back-to-backs this year. That is more than any other team in the league. All right, Cheryl and I stationed right here. We'll be here at halftime for the Nike Halftime Report. But coming up, Knicks and the Pistons. Allen Houston used to be one of the Palace guards. Then he did the free agent thing with New York. Don't expect a warm greeting from Grant Hill. Dick Hubie, Mr. Versace, to call it next. Enjoy.
To the Palace of Auburn Hills, and here are the starting lineups brought to you by Circuit City for the New York Knicks. Chris Childs and Allen Houston at guard. Up front, it's Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing, and Charles Oakley. And for the homestanding Detroit Pistons, Lindsey Hunter and Joe Dumars. In the backcourt, Grant Hill, Rick Mahorn, and Otis Thorpe up front. And right now, let's send it over to Dick Versace.
Well, guys, it's a very emotional return for Allen Houston. His teammates felt that he opted to go to New York. He did not. I talked to Grant Hill today. Can you guys say bad blood?
Control. And, you know, it's unfortunate he left, but he's not here. He's an enemy now, just like everyone else out there is an enemy, and we have to go out there and compete against him. And, you know, I don't know what happened. I'm just as baffled about it as everyone else.
I guess he's got a few more enemies sitting up in the upper bleachers, in the sky boxes, and all around this arena. It's going to be a tough night for Allen Houston. Back to Dick and Hubie.
That was moments ago, and Allen Houston was booed. In fact, before the Knicks got here, he was concerned about having his mother come to the game because of the boos that he might hear. But that is over. Now we're ready for some basketball, as they say. Steve Javie, Blaine Reichelt, and Terry Durham will be our officials. It's throwback night, so the Pistons will be wearing the dark uniforms emblematic of the Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons, which were the home of the Pistons before they moved to Detroit, and the Knicks, the road team, will be wearing white this evening.
Tonight we have two excellent shooting teams. Detroit, #1 in three-point field goal percentage. New York, 3rd. Both outstanding free throw shooting teams. Big game on the perimeter, a lot of penetration and kicking out for three-point shooting.
Knicks are second in the Atlantic Division, a game behind the Miami Heat, and the Pistons trail the Chicago Bulls by 2 in the Central Division, and we're underway. The Knicks have had the Pistons number. Not only did they sweep them all 4 games last year, have won 6 in a row and 12 of the last 13 against Detroit. Knicks ball, and they'll be in white tonight. Maybe a little confusing. They're the road team. Patrick Ewing working against Mahorn, and a turnover.
Well, that's Mahorn's favorite trick. He lays on you, 260 pounds. When you make your move, he steps back, and if you don't have your balance, you'll turn the ball over or fall on the floor.
Lindsey Hunter on a pick and spot up, and the first basket of the game by Otis Thorpe.
Detroit, Dick, a very big pick and roll team, and they all can hit the basket facing.
Allen Houston off the screen, misses his first shot to the cheers of the fans, and they apparently will boo him every time he handles the ball. Grant Hill hits a jumper to give the Pistons a 4-0 lead.
Big thing about that, Dick, there were 60 starters that changed teams this year, and it's kind of interesting. This isn't rare. This is going on all around the league.
Childs for a two-point basket, and the Pistons lead by a score of 4-2.
Dick, I like Chris Childs' game. He missed the first 9 with a fractured fibula, but he's back. He's a defensive stopper, and he has an excellent perimeter game.
Coming off his season's high 24 last night against the Utah Jazz. Here is Grant Hill with a fake, and Lindsey Hunter missing from the corner. Rick Mahorn, the 16-year veteran, on the follow-up, out of bounds, last touch by the Knicks.
Mahorn was a little hot that time because he thought he got hit on the shot. Now you can see already off the dribble Detroit, last 2 possessions, get down in tight, turn around, and kick out for the long shot.
This is Mahorn's second start of the year. The first one was against the Lakers and Shaquille O'Neal. Getting a screen is Grant Hill, and he misses the shot, and here comes Childs with the Pistons leading by 2. Charles Oakley celebrating his 33rd birthday, lays it in to tie the game.
Always reward the big fellas at power forward and center when they run the floor.
2 minutes gone by here in the opening stanza. The Knicks with a 7-2 record on the road, one of the better road records in the NBA. Joe Dumars defended well by Houston, and the pass off the hands of Mahorn, and the Knicks get it back. Trying to
beautiful.
Larry Johnson with a lay-in to give the Knicks their first lead.
That was a beautiful pass by Charles Oakley.
Knicks have run off 6 in a row.
If you notice, Oakley is matched up with Mahorn, and Patrick Ewing is playing Otis Thorpe.
Grant Hill trying to get a foul on the drive, got nothing. Knicks with Childs missing the jump shot. The Pistons got back defensively, and here is Lindsey Hunter. Lindsey Hunter, who was used as a point guard last year, struggled. He is a shooting guard and a lot more comfortable in that role. Grant Hill, off to a cold start so far, is only 1 for 4.
Well, what you must do with Grant Hill is he has got to prove to you that he can make that 18 to 21-foot shot.
Here's Larry Johnson against the double team, scores. Larry Johnson, who got off to a slow start but has picked up his game, averaging nearly 12 and a half a game.
Dick, when he was at Charlotte, he got 15 shot attempts a game. Here in New York, 9 a game.
A lot more shooters in New York, as Allen Houston has found out, and Otis Thorpe with his second basket.
Dick, Patrick Ewing has tried to help out on the dribbler off the screen and roll. They have kicked back to Otis Thorpe twice now. Patrick has got to pay attention.
And Ewing going in has the ball jarred away, and here come the Pistons. Trailing by 2. The Knicks have run off 8 in a row before that last Detroit basket. Dumars on a block, puts it up again. And Thorpe, Pistons doing a good job off the offensive glass. Dumars open, and he ties the game. Joe Dumars, the veteran, and he has found his game again after a 2-year slump.
Dick, he's averaging 51% in 2 points, 57% in threes, and 89 on the foul line.
Joe Dumars leading the NBA in three-point field goal percentage. Charles Oakley hits from outside, and the Knicks regain the lead.
Anytime you play New York, Charles Oakley can be found at any time at the top of the circle.
Grant Hill will handle the ball as the Pistons without a true point guard, so Hill becomes the point forward on this team. Still struggling now, 1 for 5, but Rick Mahorn getting his second offensive rebound. Pistons still in possession, and Lindsey Hunter hits a 3 from the corner, and the Pistons are up by 1, but Larry Johnson lost Grant Hill at the other end, and now the Knicks are up again.
Well, the Knicks, when you score, the Knicks this year get the ball up quickly, and you've got to get back. Interesting point. Detroit Pistons, 29th in the league in offensive rebounding, but with Mahorn in the lineup tonight, they are all over the offensive boards.
He has set the tone, Hubie, off the glass. Here's Grant Hill slicing his way in, and Grant Hill can't buy a basket, gets the loose ball and loses it. Another turnover with 6:40 to go in the first. The Knicks lead by 1. Larry Johnson left open, did not take the shot against Mahorn.
But he'll take that 3, Dick.
Oakley working against Hill, and Hill knocks it away into the hands of Lindsey Hunter. 3-on-2 break for the Pistons, and Hunter lays it in. And Detroit, in an early seesaw game, has taken a 13-12 lead.
At both ends of the floor tonight, you've got to hold on to the basketball. This veteran crew of referees are allowing hitting on the hand and knocking the ball loose.
Chris Childs throws the ball away, and that is the 4th turnover by the Knicks, and a timeout.
Dick, that was an excellent pass. Twice. Now here comes Ewing with the screen. Thorpe, and the defender is going to come underneath. Patrick Ewing is going to step out here to help, but watch Thorpe come right to the corner and hit the shot. Now he's done it twice now on 2 screen in a row. See, Ewing is getting caught in the middle of the floor. They're kicking right back to the baseline so that you cannot double team in that spot.
Otis Thorpe averaging 12.5 points a game, and he has been the key low post player. Of course, he has championship experience, as does Joe Dumars and Rick Mahorn, both of whom played for the Pistons in the late 80s, and Thorpe, of course, with the Houston Rockets, and that's not going to hurt a team that is on the rise. They improved their block by 18 games in Doug Collins' first year as head coach last year, and off to a great start, 18-4 this time.
Well, they're an excellent defensive team, Dick, without a lot of half-court trapping or full-court pressure.
Joe Dumars is guarded by Allen Houston on the fake. Dumars draws the foul. Joe Dumars, and a great story here for a guy who is shooting better than he ever has in his career. As we said, #1 in three-point percentage. He's healthy and fresh at age 33.
Well, you know, everybody remembers him. He was here during the championship years, but he was also an all-star player for 5 years, and also every year on the all-defensive team, either first or second team. So, you know, he has the total package. And it's nice to see, Dick, where for 3 seasons his points went down, his production went down, the franchise was struggling, but now he is back big time.
Charles Oakley committing the foul for the New York Knicks. Joe Dumars coming in averaging more than 16.5 points per game, the second leading scorer for the Pistons, who have a 3-point lead with under 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Here's Houston coming off the screen, and he lays, and it goes in. Let's see who gets credit for the basket. And it's going to be Patrick Ewing on the tip-in. 15-14, the Pistons in front. Grant Hill will bring the ball up. Lindsey Hunter will defend the other team's point guard. And Hill was allowed to shoot. And now come the Knicks back with Childs pulling up for a jumper. Knicks rushing their offense. Get another quad. And Oakley hits. Charles Oakley, with his 3rd field goal, has 6 in the game. And the Knicks are up by 1. Grant Hill struggling at the outset, 1 for 7 from the field. He has scored 2 points. Lindsey Hunter, however, hits a jumper. Hunter now with 7 points to lead all scorers.
He's playing with a great deal of confidence. We said he's averaging 14 a game. That's 5 up over his career average, and you can see it in his eyes. He's coming off looking for the shot.
Lindsey Hunter, not a point guard, but a shooting guard, as the Pistons have discovered. And Allen Houston with a brick, 0 for 3. In his return here to the Palace. He averaged 20 points a game last year, supporting Hill for the Pistons. Big shock when he left and went to New York. Thorpe finds the open man, Hunter. Lindsey Hunter is hot, and he hits from downtown. That's his 2nd from 3-point territory, and the Pistons are up by 4.
Now, if the Knicks continue to double team down inside, this is dangerous because they are Detroit, #1 in 3-point percentage.
Here's Ewing with the travel as he went baseline. That's 6 turnovers by the Knicks, who have averaged almost 20 turnovers this year.
Now you're going to see a nice ball rotation out of that left corner on a double team. Now you have Hunter and Joe Dumars, really major 3-point shooting. Remember, Grant Hill is not a 3-point threat, only out of necessity.
There you see the Knicks with a flurry of early turnovers in the game. Joe Dumars misses the rebound by Patrick Ewing, and the Knicks down by 4 with 3:45 remaining in the first quarter. Knicks beating Utah last night at home. They have won 7 in a row. And now they will call the foul as Larry Johnson was pushed, and we'll have our first substitution coming in from the Pistons, Theo Radliff.
Now, I'm kind of surprised that we're not seeing more of this. You can see they just curled Allen Houston over the top of Larry Johnson. Now, you can go right into him. Grant Hill has got to prove to you that he can play one of the better post-up power forwards in this league, or small forwards.
Theo Radliff, who leads the Pistons in block shots, replaces Rick Mahorn, who goes out. having corralled 4 rebounds. Meanwhile, Charles Oakley becomes the big offensive force for the Knicks, who trail 20-18.
Anytime Oakley catches the ball at the top of the circle, you got to get right in his shirt.
Lindsey Hunter off the screen, and he is on fire. Lindsey Hunter now with 12 points on 5 for 6 shooting and 2 from downtown.
Now we know Detroit was off last night, so they are going to be quicker.
Chris Childs leaves it for Oakley. And here's Allen Houston. And coming in front, and an offensive foul. And you got to credit Lindsey Hunter for taking the charge on Allen Houston.
I like the game plan by Detroit. Their defensive game plan has been excellent so far. They're running good screens, good pick and rolls, good staggers, and getting high percentage shots for their hot people.
Spot up, 3 in your face. And then another curl. There's no reason for Chris Childs
to be that far behind when you're following. Now you can see his first 3 years, 9 a game, 14 now. The field goal percentage is up, and also the minutes.
Lindsey Hunter in his 4th year from Jackson State. The Knicks have brought in their 6th man, John Starks, as Allen Houston has gone out of the game. And here is Otis Thorpe. He is smooth from the perimeter. Otis Thorpe now 3 for 3 from the field, and a 6-point Detroit lead, their biggest.
That's the 3rd time they've run the screen and roll with Thorpe. 3rd time he's been open because it's too far for Oakley to get there.
Big shooting disparity in the early going between these two teams, as Oakley misses his first shot, and now Grant Hill, he's 1 for 7, and a crossover dribble by Grant Hill, who really has established himself as a true superstar in this league, and he is fouled by Larry Johnson.
Well, Larry Johnson gets caught back on his heels. Just watch. Anytime your feet are parallel to one another, it's all over. The dribbler has you beat, mainly because you squared off, and now you just can't possibly react. Smart, make him make the foul shots. He's only a 75% foul shooter.
Hill makes the first free throw, and the NBA continues with action on TNT Friday when the Utah Jazz take on the Orlando Magic. We'll be back on TBS next Thursday when the Magic visit the Miami Heat, and the NBA returns in the new year on TNT on January 3rd when the Orlando Magic meet the Chicago Bulls. Substitutions: Charlie Ward has checked in for the New York Knicks, and Laterial Green, in his 3rd year out of the University of Georgia, who was activated early this month after being out with a strained hamstring, number 9, has come in, and he is guarding Ward. Winding down to 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. 8-point lead for the Detroit Pistons. Patrick Ewing with a turnaround, throws up an air ball. Ewing has scored only 2 points in this first quarter.
Well, you can see he's upset, mainly because Mahorn leaned on him, led off, and then he staggered twice in the lane. That was a big-time air ball.
And the basket counts on a runner by Grant Hill, showing what he could do, and he'll go to the line to complete a 3-point play.
Now just watch inside. Yeah, you have Ratliff trying to play. You notice how Ewing can just shed him. Now he loves to turn to the baseline. Now just look at the distance, and that's against a shot blocker, but you can see Patrick is upset right now. They're taking him out, going to the bench. Buck Williams is in. Grant Hill, you know, off the dribble. There is nothing Larry Johnson can do. That's just a lack of foot quickness.
And there's nothing many, if not most, defenders against Grant Hill can do against this guy who leads the Pistons in so many categories. Misses the free throw, and the Pistons lead 28-18. They have brought in Michael Curry, a 3rd-year swingman from Georgia Southern. John Wallace has come in, the rookie from Syracuse, who hasn't had much playing time as of late. And Buck Williams with a turnaround, misses, and a rebound by Otis Thorpe.
They have numbers here.
Curry along with Laterial Green, Thorpe.
There it is.
Grant Hill, and there is Laterial Green with the jumper, and the Pistons lead by 12, 30-18.
Well, he's the leading scorer in the history of Georgia basketball, along with the #1 assist man. So when he spots up, you're talking about a point guard that can knock in that perimeter shot.
And in the last 4 minutes, the Detroit Pistons have run off 15-2 edge on the New York Knicks with 1:10 remaining in the first quarter. 22nd timeout called by the New York Knicks. Let's see the last play.
Now, see, this is just good ball movement, good execution. Now, once you have the guy, they had a 4-on-5 situation there, and the corner opened up. The Knicks actually defended everyone around the lane.
Knicks have John Starks and Charlie Ward at guard, Charles Oakley, Buck Williams, and John Wallace up front. There's Starks, who had the game-winning three-pointer against Denver last Saturday at the Garden. Winding down to a minute to go and 11 on the shot clock for the Knicks. And a tip ball by Grant Hill, trying to make the steal, but anticipated that pass nicely.
Oh, this was a very quick group for Detroit defensively out on the floor. Quick with long wingspan.
Terry Mills comes into the game amidst the cheers. He has been an outstanding scorer off the bench for Doug Collins and tied a record with 13 consecutive three-point baskets last week. He has been a crowd favorite from Romulus, Michigan. Loose ball, Ward picks up the shot, misses the bank shot, and here is John Wallace, has it blocked. Wallace's shot blocked by Theo Ratliff.
Well, that's his game. That's what he's in there for, shot blocking and rebounding.
12-point lead, the Pistons have it. Grant Hill, and a good ball movement by Detroit, and Terry Mills hits from downtown.
He's only shooting 51% in threes. 51 for 99 right now.
You know, he is second to Joe Dumars in three-point percentage in the NBA right now. Rare that you find one team that has 1-2 in any department. And the Pistons on an 18-2 run down the stretch of this first quarter.
Now, this is what Detroit is outstanding with. You know, they dribble and then they kick out, rotate the ball, and spot up. Now, in the early going, the Knicks have not established their inside game, which is their plus, their strong suit. Detroit has definitely established their perimeter shooting, and they are unstoppable right now. They're on fire.
Grant Hill getting a rest, goes out having scored 6, and Stacey Augmon replacing him. Differential of about 3 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock as we wind down toward the end of this first quarter. Starks going baseline, fires from downtown. John Starks, 38% from three-point territory, and the Knicks trail by 12. Final seconds being ticked off. Mills misses a 3 at the buzzer. And Lindsey Hunter, the former point guard, now a shooting guard. 2 for 2 from downtown and 12 points to lead the Pistons with a very impressive first quarter. And after one, the Pistons lead the Knicks by a score of 33-21.
Take aim at 2 big.
Stockton and Hubie Brown. I don't know if you've been naughty or nice, Hubie, but I know you have some interesting first quarter statistics to relate to us.
Well, Detroit and New York both shooting 50%. The difference, Detroit in threes are 3 for 4, plus they have 5 offensive rebounds. The Knicks, 7 turnovers, but they lead the league in turnovers at 20 a game.
Start of the second quarter, the Pistons wearing the dark uniforms, the Fort Wayne Piston uniforms in blue, even though they're the home team. Have Laterial Green, Terry Mills, Stacey Augmon, who misses the inside shot. And here come the Knicks. And also out there, Michael Curry and Theo Ratliff. Charlie Ward misses the layup and passes it out to John Starks, who fires away. Mills gets the rebound for Detroit. Leading scorers, Lindsey Hunter with 12 for the Pistons. Charles Oakley had 8 to top the Knicks.
Now, this is the screen and roll from this area, which has been very good.
Mills will shoot over John Wallace, and Buck Williams can't save it. The Knicks will have Williams, Wallace, and Oakley in there, along with Ward and Starks in the backcourt.
Dick, anytime Terry Mills spots up, you know that he's not going to put the ball down on the floor. So you've got to go out and jam him and not give him the three-point look.
Stacey Augmon, been a forgotten player with the Pistons, coming over from Atlanta. Got it in, and Michael Curry with a lay-in. Curry re-signed this summer, has not been shooting well, but his layup gives the Pistons a 14-point lead.
He brings the energy. He's the energy man for him, Dick. An excellent defender and is a heady player.
Wallace in the low post banks it in against Stacey Augmon. John Wallace with his first field goal.
Well, this is what the Knicks need. They need to establish some kind of low post game, and especially when Ewing and Larry Johnson get back into this affair during the second quarter.
Interesting, Hubie, that Rick Mahorn really set the tone when he started tonight's game.
Oh, absolutely did.
And a shot missed by Theo Ratliff, and the Knicks down by 12.
Big thing now is take your time, chop it, and get it down to 8.
Starks fakes the pass and lays it in. John Starks. And it's a 10-point game with less than 2 minutes gone by here in the second. And traveling is the call against Laterial Green. Turns it over to the Knicks.
Now just keep an eye on John. John's going to take it all the way to the hole. One of the fearless, penetrating guys that we have in the league from the backcourt. He will attack the basket anytime that you give him a little bit of an opening.
And we have quite a matchup of 6 men tonight in Terry Mills of the Pistons and John Starks of the New York Knicks. That could be one of the deciding factors as this game goes along. Here is Starks with a jumper and taken in by Wallace with the offensive rebound. And Wallace.
Now that was an inadvertent foul. Wallace is great on the offensive boards because he has long arms. He's 6'9", and he can usually dominate small forwards. He went up. He received the offensive rebound, and while he was making his move, he inadvertently caught the defensive player with a shot with the elbow.
Wallace got off to a good start this year, has not gotten much playing time lately as his offense has dipped a bit, now getting another chance tonight. Lindsey Hunter, his third from downtown. Hunter is 3 for 3 from downtown and has 15 points. And the Pistons again regain a 13-point lead. Starks driving the baseline against the sea of blue shirts is fouled and will shoot 2.
John Starks is taking this on like a personal crusade that he's going to bring the second unit back.
Looks that way, huh?
Yeah, because you notice he's not forcing anything from the outside, and he's going strong to the rim. He wants to be fouled. At the other end of the floor, Lindsey Hunter doing a terrific job. And you're saying, well, does he usually get this amount of three-point attempts? How about 6 3-point attempts a game?
Pretty good. These are the Knicks' first free throw attempts of the game, believe it or not. And they missed the first attempt as Starks, who is an 83% free throw shooter, misses the first one. Patrick Ewing, frustrated early on by Mahorn and then Ratliff. Starting the second quarter on the bench, he has scored only 2 points. John Starks throws up 2 bricks, misses the free throws, and here come the Pistons leading by 13 with less than 9.5 to go in the second quarter. Grant Hill, good step to the hoop, and that happened in an instant. Boy, if you blink, you miss that stuff. Look out on the other side.
Got to get back quick because the Knicks are pushing very fast.
Knicks want a timeout.
Dick, that was a highlight dunk. Wallace lays off of him. Just watch how he's playing him loose. Watch this explosion. Now that is a 10 facial right there.
8 points for Grant Hill. Slow start, but he has come on, to say the least. Pistons have taken the play away from the Knicks in a 15-point lead, and talking with Jeff Van Gundy before the game, despite the 7-game winning streak, Hubie, not that sure how to read his team at this point.
Yeah, well, there's so many new fellas, and there's, like we said, 9 out of the 14 guys are new, 3 starters, and a lot of times guys will step back and just pay homage to Patrick Ewing and say, hey, you do all the talking here. And on back-to-back games throughout this league, we just don't have any idea how a lot of teams are going to play, not just the New York Knicks. Now, you can see right there, he's only been double-teamed once, but Mahorn has done an excellent defensive job. Now, me right now, I would go right at Patrick Ewing and let him take Ratliff, and let's see him establish a low post game.
So not only is Ewing back in, Allen Houston returns for the Knicks. He's 0 for 3 shooting when he was in there. Joe Dumars is also checked back for the Pistons, who lead it 40-25. Houston is guarded by Hill. They were teammates a year ago. Here is Ewing going right in, as you were saying, against Ratliff, And that's what he's going to have to do, challenge the big people of Detroit.
Well, he cannot just go parallel to the basket, Dick. He's got to drop the shoulder and then take it so he can get closer to the rim.
And here is Grant Hill going in strong and fouled. He is very tough to stop, and Grant Hill will go to the line.
We're going to show you Ewing. Now you're going to see he's going to pin his man right here. And once he gets the ball, see, just don't go parallel right here and then take the easy move. Drop the shoulder into Ratliff because you have a major weight advantage and upper body strength on him. Take him closer to the rim.
Ewing has attempted only 3 shots with 8:38 remaining in the second quarter. The Knicks foul was on Allen Houston, which drew cheers from the crowd, and Grant Hill makes 1 out of 2 from the line, and the Pistons leading 41-25.
Because of Grant Hill's outstanding ability off the dribble, he gets to the foul line 7 shot attempts per game.
Here again is Ewing working against Ratliff, and he kicks it out. And Charlie Ward hits from downtown, and Ward and Starks have hit from 3-point territory, and the Knicks trailing 41-28.
Well, the Knicks have 2 point guards this year that you cannot blink your eye. Childs and Ward will definitely take the shot.
And Mills hitting from the corner. That's a 2-point basket for Terry Mills. And with under 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, 43-28, the Pistons out in front of the New York Knicks. Knicks riding a 7-game winning streak, including a big one against the Utah Jazz last night. Ewing with a turnaround over Ratliff, and Patrick Ewing with only his 2nd basket.
You know, sometimes when a player has a big mismatch, you have to whisper to him, if you throw a fadeaway jump shot, I think it's going to give you a fine. You know what I'm saying? Take him to the rim and get the fouls on the guy.
But Ewing right now probably will take it any way he can get it, considering his start tonight. Here's Grant Hill.
Oh, he's feeling it. He just knows he can beat anyone off the dribble.
Mills misses from downtown, but he was wide open after the Knicks had double-teamed Grant Hill. Here is Charlie Ward penetrating, lays it in, and draws the foul. Charlie Ward, who started the season at point guard when Chris Childs was out with that fractured fibula, has a chance for a 3-point play.
Now, you just like Charlie Ward and Chris Childs. See, they do not give up their dribble. They will survey the situation as they come down the floor and then explode.
Lindsey Hunter committing the personal foul. And Ward makes good for the 3-point play. And the Knicks, who are down by 60, now trail by only 10. Hill guarded by Allen Houston. And he will bring the ball down most of the time for the Pistons as the point forward. Double team. And a foul before the pass called against Ward.
Now, Grant Hill is definitely in a groove. He yelled, clear out, let me take him.
This Thursday on TBS, Patrick Swayze stars in a full night of movies for guys who like movies, beginning with Point Break at 8:05 Eastern, Thursday night, only on TBS. Otis Thorpe has come back into the game for the Detroit Pistons. Lindsey Hunter has had the hot hand since the start of this game, now with 17 points on 7 of 8 shooting. Knicks turn it over, and here come the Pistons again.
Excellent anticipation by Grant Hill.
And Terry Mills travels going to the basket. It looked too easy. The lane was wide open.
Yeah, it's too bad because all he needed was an extra dribble. If you notice now, that time down the floor, they were running an open game, and that meant that the middle was open. You could take your man off the dribble right to the hole.
The Knicks, the road team, wearing white tonight in the throwback uniforms, trailing and turn it over for the 2nd straight possession. That's plagued the Knicks. That is their 10th turnover of the game. And remember, they've averaged nearly 20 so far this year. Joe Dumars guarded by John Starks. Setting a screen is Mills on the pick and roll. No pass back to Mills. And up and under goes Dumars, and the second effort by Otis Thorpe.
I'm impressed with the perimeter shooting, but I'm really taken back by the offensive rebound. That's their 7th offensive board, and we're talking about they only get 10 a game. They're last in the league in offensive rebound.
Ewing is double teamed by Mills and Hill, and Grant Hill gets the rebound. Hill leading the Pistons in scoring, rebounds, assists, and steals this year. Here's Hill going strong against Houston. batted out of bounds by Buck Williams, but a foul before that shot.
Dick, all of the screen and rolls in the offense of Detroit are definitely getting them clear, open jump shots. And if the dribbler turns the corner quickly, he can get down inside and get to the foul line because he either has a layup or they foul.
There you see the Knicks substitutions as Chris Childs comes in for Charlie Ward. Charles Oakley is back in. And Allen Houston goes out along with Buck Williams. Houston in 13 minutes. Inauspicious return to the Palace. 0 for 3 from the field. 2 turnovers and 3 fouls to the delight of the crowd. So Grant Hill, guarded by Larry Johnson, also come back. Knicks going back with their starters. And illegal defense is the call against the New York Knicks.
I like Doug's strategy right now, Doug Collins. He's saying, I'm going screen and roll on the wing, and if Larry Johnson comes under, I'm allowing Grant Hill to take him. He has 2 fouls.
Lindsey Hunter red hot. 4 for 4 from downtown and 20 points already in this game, and we still have a little more than 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Here is Chris Childs behind the Starks and bumped by Lindsey Hunter, and he'll get called for the personal foul. That'll be Hunter's second.
Now the Knicks are a famous pick and roll team. Screen and roll, screen and spot up. But tonight, Detroit doing an outstanding job in not allowing them to turn the corner into the paint. We call that leveling the offense off.
Pistons have been outplayed and beaten by the Knicks in recent years. Larry Johnson has the ball slapped away. Dumars to Grant Hill, picked up by Starks. Oakley is guarding Dumars, so there's a mismatch. Starks on Grant Hill. Pass goes into Otis Thorpe. Hunter with a fake and a shot. Lindsey Hunter shooting. That's 22 points on 9 of 10 from the field. Out of sight tonight is Lindsey Hunter, and a timeout called by the New York Knicks.
Lindsey thinks he's back at Jackson State,
where he did it all.
Oh, and he had many a half like this. Now this is just great because Detroit is saying, you know what, we didn't want a layup. So let's just kick the ball out because this young fella is on fire.
Welcome back to the Palace of Auburn Hills, and the New York Knicks being outplayed by the Detroit Pistons at both ends, and the Pistons with their biggest lead of 19.
Now this is a nice drop off. Thorpe felt that the defense was there. He kicks out. Beautiful ball fake. Lindsey Hunter in your face. Beautiful. Now you can see the matchups here, 2 to 22. And in the three-point shooting, 4 for 4, but most of all, 9 for 10 from the field, and they've all been perimeter.
Let's check in with Dick Versade.
Well, guys, I've been in this situation. Ruby, I know you have a few times. What you're saying, what Van Gundy is saying to his team is, hey, look, let's just try to get it down to 10 or 12 before half, and let's see if we can pick up the intensity, because mechanical things and technical things are not the problem right now. Back to you guys at the table.
All right, Dick, and you couldn't complain about Larry Johnson. He had a good percentage shot right in the lane, but it's just not falling for the Knicks, who are down by 52 to 33 with under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Mills, Hill, Thorpe, Hunter, and Dumars, and a foul called before the shot. No basket. And Chris Childs with his first personal.
Now there has been a number of switching, a number of double teaming, rotating, but right now Childs is matched up on Grant Hill. What they're saying now is we'll allow Grant Hill to post up Childs, but we do not want Grant Hill to continue to break us down off the dribble.
That's a 5-inch advantage for Hill, trying to post him up. 7 on the shot clock for the Pistons, getting down to 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Dumars for 3, and Ewing snares the rebound for the New York Knicks.
Tonight, Detroit doing an excellent job. When any time that a perimeter player catches the ball on a kick out, they give you the ball fake, shed the defender, and then spot up.
There's the pick and roll. Starks to Larry Johnson, and the Knicks trailing now 52 to 35, under 3 minutes, or getting to 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Dick, that's the first screen and roll for a score for the Knicks.
Here is Hunter. And Hunter finally misses from downtown. He was 4 for 4 before that miss. Childs and the officials, no foul. Good no call by the officials. Oakley hits from outside. 10 points for Charles Oakley, and he's the first Knick into double figures tonight.
Rick Versace made an excellent point. Just get the game down to 10, 10-9 before you go in at the half. Do something close. Then in the third quarter as a coach, you work to get it to 6 or 8 and then make a run in the fourth quarter.
When Dennis Rodman's hair was its natural color, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars patrolled the backcourt for the Detroit Pistons. Magic Johnson and the Lakers were the Pistons' opponent, but then as now, defense was the key for Detroit as they swept LA 4-0. The very next year, the Pistons were the team very nearly intact, returned to the NBA Finals against the Portland Trail Blazers and defended their world championship 4-1. Joe Dumars, you mentioned how his play really has improved the link between that team and maybe a new surge by the Pistons going through a couple of bad years. Terry Mills hits from downtown, and the Pistons are up 55-37.
You cannot double team. See, anytime you double team a post-up player, Dick, they rotate the ball. They're just murdering you in 3. Dumars, Mills, Hunter. They have 3 guys who are outstanding.
And that's what you pointed out at the top. How can this team lose Allen Houston and do better than they were a year ago? That's how they're doing it. Patrick Ewing throws up a turnaround at the 24-second buzzer. So the Knicks don't look like they're going to get it down to 10 in the final 149.
I'm impressed. The Detroit defense pushing the Knicks away from the basket. Very few attempts in the lane.
Pick and spot up. Mills again hits from downtown.
Oh, my.
7 of 12. The Pistons shooting from 3-point territory, and they have opened up a 21-point lead with less than a minute and a half to go in the first half. And they had a 33-point first quarter tonight. Oakley misses from the top of the key, gets the rebound, and it's missed hit by Johnson, and Ewing with the follow-in and the foul. And that's where the Knicks really have to do some business on the offensive glass tonight.
Coming into this game, Dick, any, NBA person with a lot of knowledge would tell you that the Knicks are going to dominate on the offensive board. They're one of the best in the league. They average close to 14 a game. Tonight, Detroit has been holding them to 1 shot. That is one of the very few flurries that we've seen from the Knicks.
Coming up on the Nike halftime report, Vince Cellini, joined in our Atlanta studio by Cheryl Miller. Scores and highlights of tonight's action. Also a close look at the Orlando Magic injury woes coming up on the Nike halftime report. 58-39 as we get close to 1 minute remaining in the first half. The Pistons have dominated this game against the Knicks. Grant Hill working against Childs with a big advantage. Misses the layup as it rolls off.
Now, Childs did an excellent job.
Here's Oakley shooting over Mills. So Oakley, after a hot start from the field, has missed his last 2.
Jeff Van Gundy's got to go in there at halftime and sell. We must establish the inside game. Stop settling for the fadeaway jump shots or the perimeter game. We can get that perimeter shot anytime.
And the Knicks ball movement leaves a lot to be desired in this first half. Dumars trying to get the foul, and maybe the basket as well. Knew he had John Starks in his face. Starks commits the foul, and Dumars will go to the line. And there is Starks doing his best imitation of a Dennis Rodman, you can have my jersey after the game.
Well, it's total frustration on his behalf. He thought that he played Joe as well as he could, but then Joe gave him the extra move to draw the foul.
Dumars, only 1 for 6 from the field, hits the free throw. Coming in averaging 16.6, and Rick Mahorn, who started the game for the Pistons at center, has come back in. But what a difference a year makes.
You can see the 5 points, but then the field goal percentage from 42 to 51, and then the 3-point shooting. Doug Collins made a good point about Dumars, and that is during the summer, he went strong to the weight training, and he shot 250 to 350 jump shots, worked on his game every day, came to camp in the best shape he's been in a long time.
And Ubi, it has paid off considerably for Dumars. Charles Oakley with a 2-point basket And with 10.4 remaining, it is a 19-point lead for the Detroit Pistons. And there is the turnover, and Oakley gets it to Starks, who will put it in with 1:7 remaining, and the Knicks get it down to 17. And that'll do it, and the Knicks very nearly fouled Michael Curry at midcourt.
Good call.
That is the end of the first half. Lindsey Hunter just 2 points away from his season's high, 22 points. He is sizzling tonight, and after one half, the Pistons lead the Knicks by a score of 60-43.
Time Report is brought to you by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Well, we're back here in Atlanta where Winter Storm Watch 96 continues. And this is the Nike Halftime Report. I'm Vince Cellini, joined by Cheryl Miller, and we're going to begin with Orlando and the Magic trying to stop the bleeding. The Magic placing Penny Hardaway on the injured list with tendonitis in his bothersome left knee. He's out at least 5 games now. Orlando getting guard help by signing veteran guard Kenny Smith. Magic coach Brian Hill says, quote, Kenny is the best possible player we could add to a ball club at this time. Well, the Pacers visiting Kenny without Penny. Although Kenny was in his warm-ups, he was not playing tonight against the visiting Pacers. Guys who were Eric Dampier. He's in there, and a team that doesn't need any more injury problems. Coming down on Brian Shaw's foot, sprained ankle, had to leave the game. Then Dale Davis nailing Gerald Wilkins right on the beezer. Hit him in the nose, and he was down, but he played on. As for the game, former Georgia Tech guards going to work on each other. Travis Best penetrating there and going to the hoop, and then Orlando's Dennis Scott feeling it from behind the arc, and then Scott again. This one over Dwayne Farrell, another guy who's a former Yellow Jacket. Right now, it is Orlando clinging to a 2-point lead in the third quarter. Scott had 16 points in the first half, best 12 for Indiana, and Indiana on a 13-4 run to start the third quarter, and that's where they got back in the game. All right, moving on, the Magic bracing for a postal crunch, and it's not about holiday mailing. The Mailman and Company meeting the Magic Friday at the O-Arena. That's our game on TNT Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Meanwhile, the sagging Nets at Gund, and they're meeting the Cavs. You know, no Sean Bradley in this game. He's hurt with a knee. Jason Williams hurt with a knee, so that's your guy, Yinka Darway. Now, you may give it to him. You may not get it back, but he finishes right there. And then Kendall Gill to carry Kittles. Kittles had 12 in the first quarter alone. Nets doubling up the Cavs 20-10. Ed O'Bannon, I don't know about this, Cheryl.
Ooh, did he call it?
I don't think so. Still a 10-point lead for the Nets. And here's Bobby Sura with a basketball, and really nice help defense by Tony Massenberg. Hey, Bobby, want a basket? There you go. Again, the Nets without Williams and Bradley in this game. Both of them out, and the Cavs now by 8 in the third quarter. Kittles, as we said, a dozen. Brandon had 9 after the first 2 quarters. Now 11 to lead Cleveland. But Cheryl, back to the Magic, and as everyone knows, devastated by injuries this season, and no Penny Hardaway. Adding to the stressful holiday season is the fact that your guys just aren't there and the puzzle doesn't fit.
Well, I spoke to assistant coach Richie Adubato, and he said, Cheryl, with all the injuries and the different lineups that we've had, it's almost been impossible to have any type of continuity. Look at the guys that have missed so many games already. Brian Evans, Penny Hardaway, D. Scott, and Nick Anderson. It's almost decimated their team. But he says, we're having to play guys in a lot of different spots, play them heavy minutes, and the results have been poor execution down the stretch, and guys simply being tired at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's different lineups in almost half your games. That's ridiculous. It's tough to win that way. All right, the Nike Halftime Report rolling on in just a moment. We'll be back with more highlights and show you good stuff from the Lakers and the Bucks. Shaq trying to put that Chicago loss behind him. Got a little help from Nick the Quick, too. We'll scan this one and more. See you in a moment. Look here at the sights and sounds from around Atlanta. A little Christmas action for you to get you in the spirit. Well, back here in the TBS studio, some video equipment that might be on display here. Could be a good gift idea for those of you who may be interested. If you're not, how about some basketball highlights, Vince? Okay, let's see the LA Lakers and what they're doing right now. They blew a 19-point fourth quarter lead in Chicago Tuesday night, losing in overtime, trying to get the amnesia going and work through it tonight in Milwaukee. And some good highlights in a game that is only 1/4 of the way through completion. Let's take a look at the highlights here. And Nick Van Exel going to find Eldon Campbell and then the lefty dunk, and it's still Milwaukee with the 2-point lead. Now Ray Allen. Is Ray Allen going to shoot? No, he's going to dish, and that is the all-star Vin Baker for the basket and the foul. Later in the first, Vin Baker, fade away, and one. The Bucks have a 17-8 lead. Here comes Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones comes up with a steal. Andrew Lang I don't think so. Eddie Jones with the finish right there. It was 32-25 after one. It's the Bucks up by 7 now, just started the second quarter. Shaq had 13 in the first, the big dog 13. The Bucks shot 61% in that first quarter. All right, here's a quirky game on the schedule. The Suns have won their last 16 against the Bullets. This one just underway. Washington's last win in this matchup came in 1988, behind 47 points from Jeff Malone. Well, the Kings are going bad, but it could be worse. It could be Denver. The Nuggets have lost 10 straight. For the Kings tonight, injury problems. No Corliss Williamson, out with a calf. No Billy Owens, ankle injury. No Tyus Edney, he's also out with an ankle. Later tonight, Seattle open the night a game back of the Lakers in the Pacific. Tonight at Portland, the Blazers are 3-4 against the Pacific Division. And Golden State looking to end a 4-game slide at home to Minnesota. The Wolf people have lost 7 of 8. But right now, we'd like to step away from the scores for a moment and play Santa. No long lines and no fussy kids, just NBA players telling us what they want for Christmas. And one big kid from Indiana has a special request.
I already told you what I wanted for Christmas, all right? Okay, so Sega!
Well, there you go. I mean, you going to help him out a little bit?
The only problem I have with this is I get him an expensive gift, and this guy comes back and buys me house shoes. The man makes $11 million, and you want to get me house shoes? What's wrong with you?
Well, you got him an expensive gift. Don't give me that Chia Pet thing like you got me last year. I think you could spring a little bit. All right, the Nike halftime report. It's a video stocking stuffer, and it continues in just a moment. Our game tonight, the Knicks and the Pistons. Look at Grant Hill going to work. And so are his Pistons, up by 17 at the break. We'll be right back. .50 starter brings you one-on-one, a matchup of NBA stars past and present. In the 70s, Pete Maravich was known for his floppy socks and razzle-dazzle style of play. His no-look passes and fancy dribbling made Pistol Pete one of basketball's greatest showmen. Today, Utah's John Stockton, the NBA's all-time leader in steals and assists, has created a style all his own. With his unselfish play and gritty performances, he gets the job done. So, do you sense a jazz theme? And it's no accident you do. Friday night TNT, Jazz at the Magic, 8 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off. And Cheryl Miller and I will be right here after our game, right here on TBS. Scores, highlights, injury updates on the postgame show. Also a roaring fire, so join us, won't you? Those New York Knicks, they've won 7 in a row, but if trends mean anything, it doesn't look good in Auburn Hills. The Pistons, 11-0 this season when leading at the half. Dick and Hubie and Versace call the second half for you in a minute.
The Nike halftime report has.
And welcome back to the Palace of Auburn Hills. And we're getting to the big season, Christmas next week. And we have to remember to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Hubie, because our next telecast will be the day after Christmas. But while we wish you all Happy Holiday, let's talk about a happy game for the Detroit Pistons, who are leading 60-43. The Knicks have given up 91 points defensively, already 60 into the bag for Detroit.
Well, you have to like Grant Hill with the 8 assists. He's making things happen. And then Hunter and Mills are killing them. You know, they're 7 for 11 in threes. But the Knicks have only attempted 4 foul shots. This is a very bad low for them. No inside game and 11 turnovers. Where are they going to?
Well, they're going that they're not sustaining a victory over Utah last night, and that was a question that Jeff Van Gundy had. As you look at the shooting, the Knicks shooting not all that bad, but as you point out, 2 for 4 from threes. The Pistons are out of sight thanks to Lindsey Hunter, and the turnovers have really hurt the Knicks. The Pistons have a 13-point edge in points over turnovers, and it has not been a happy welcome home for Allen Houston, who in 13 minutes has not hit a basket. Grant Hill, you talk about the 8 assists, all-round player. You can't do better than that, and a big edge for the starting backcourt for the Detroit Pistons. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the first half.
I would like to show you Lindsey Hunter knocking one down. He is 9 for 11 from the floor. Patrick Ewing spins now for the air ball, but he did come in with 3 for 7 from the floor. This is just a spectacular dunk. Grant Hill 3 for 10 from the field, but he has the 8 assists. And then you have Hunter knocking down a 3, 4 for 5 in threes, and then Terry Mills off the bench. 11 points, 3 for 6 in threes.
All right, and right now let's send it over to Dick Versace. Moments ago, he talked to Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy.
Jeff, you can't be happy with the intensity, and it looked like Lindsey Hunter was shooting warm-up jump shots out there.
Yeah, our intensity was not good, and unfortunately, when you win 7 in a row like we have, if you don't have the right mentality, you soften up and you don't play with the type of passion that you need to win on the road in this league.
I saw your guys coming out. They didn't look like a bunch of happy campers.
They shouldn't be. After that half, we should not be happy. We can get back in the game if we'll work the game. If we don't work the game, we're not going to get back in the game.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Dick, thanks.
All right, Jeff. All right, back to Dick and Ubi.
All right, Dick, thanks very much. And we hope that we don't say that interview was the last voice we heard from Jeff Van Gundy on this particular evening.
Well, that's what happens with coaches. I mean, he's so into the game. He's very emotionally wrapped up here. His team is playing subpar basketball. The other team cannot miss a three. You're getting buried by 17, but you've been in the league a long time. You know you can come back. Just get it down to 8 or 10.
Grant Hill with Rick Mahorn, Joe Dumars, Lindsey Hunter, and Otis Thorpe out there for the Pistons. And Mahorn is fouled by Patrick Ewing, his first foul. Ewing, frustrated early on by Mahorn, has scored only 6 points and has been no factor in this game.
Now, the one thing you do not want to do is foul Rick Mahorn. You want to make him make the shot. Now, you can see Mahorn right here, the 8 minutes and no fouls, 2 points allowed. Terry Mills, you can see, has done a very nice job. And then Ratliff. So the 3 guys working together. Thing that you have in your favor is Rick Mahorn has always been a 68, 69% foul shooter throughout his career.
But he's 11 for 15 coming into this game, amazingly enough, now showing why he was never a free throw shooter as he goes blank on those 2. So the history counts more than what he had done this year. You're our history guy. 60-43, a 17-point lead in favor of the Pistons. And a Detroit foul on Grant Hill. That'll be his second person.
The Knicks continue to run a triple staggered screen for Allen Houston. Unfortunately, he's not been able to catch and shoot.
He has no points, no field goals, and he breaks that with the jumper. Allen Houston, who came in averaging 13 a game.
Well, that was right on cue. He's now 1 for 4 in the game, and you'd like to see him get going.
You're proud of yourself, aren't you?
Dick, as long as you keep running hard, you don't give up on yourself as the game moves along, the shots open up.
You're right. Grant Hill guarded by Childs. Hill trying to get inside against him. Childs has done a good job defensively. And finally, a reach-in foul called against Childs, his second.
Now, this was a good move by Jeff Van Gundy. He did it in the middle of the second quarter because our man here, Hill, has been wearing everyone else out. But remember now, Grant Hill was only 3 for 10 in that first half. Now, you can see they're fronting the post up.
But like many great players, he can beat you so many different ways. So maybe not the shooting in the first half, but as you say, the playmaking.
Oh, the playmaking was outstanding.
Otis Thorpe on the double team throws up a wild shot. Boy, Thorpe was on the money in the first half. Looked like he never took a shot in his life the way he took that one. Here is Oakley from outside, and he too shooting. So the Knicks picking up where they left off, taking jumpers and not working the ball.
Dick, at the one end of the floor defensively, the Knicks, they continue to trap. When you continue to trap, you're going to open up the perimeter shooting. And that's been to the favor of Detroit because they're hot. At the other end, they continue to force the jump shot early on the shot clock. And if you just have more patience, you can post up Larry Johnson and Patrick Ewing.
The cheers. Allen Houston has picked up his 4th personal foul, and so this has been a night to forget for Allen Houston returning to the Palace.
Leave him in. That's exactly what he's doing. Leave him in. If he fouls out, so what?
Off the screen, Lindsey Hunter hits the jump shot. Better to leave him in and try to see if he can get rid of him.
Absolutely.
Right? Giles nearly palmed that. Larry Johnson with a quick move off the left hand. Johnson now in double figures.
Grant Hill can no more stop Larry Johnson than anyone else that they have at the small forward or in the guard position. He is just too strong.
So on cue, the Knicks should be going to Larry Johnson. Good matchup for them. Dumars to Thorpe, the baseline. Otis Thorpe, 5 for 6 from the field. The one he missed was horrendous, but he's been on the mark. And the Pistons lead 62-47.
Every time that Patrick Ewing leads Otis Thorpe to help on the screen and roll, help on a rotation, Thorpe scores.
Dumars doing a good job staying with Allen Houston. The inside, Ewing misses. Ewing is having a frustrated night, showing it as well. 3 for 8 from the field.
Yeah, he is. And he popped Mahorn, and Mahorn just laughed because Mahorn probably has hit Patrick Ewing 8 times in this game already.
Tell you, that was a great move by Doug Collins to start Rick Mahorn in the game because he set an early tone and put Patrick Ewing in a funk that still stays.
Excellent observation, Rick. The Knicks, see, they're not a blazing fast break team because you can't be with Larry Johnson as your small forward.
Ewing is left open, and that won't fall for him. Ewing with only 6 points on now 3 for 9 shooting. 62-47, the double team on Hill. Dumars working against Larry Johnson. 9 on the shot clock. Dumars did not get a good pass from Hill. He would have been open. And Lindsey Hunter driving, steps on the line. And let's see, we'll have a pushing foul against the Knicks. Check it, it'll be on Johnson.
Now just keep an eye on Ewing. Right now, Rick Mahorn, is leaning all over Ewing. Ewing hooks him. Now right here, you can see Patrick was fouled on the way up by Mahorn. And then you see the pushing and the shoving. And now Patrick, very upset. Mahorn is having a lot of fun because he's just laughing and moving along as long as they stay ahead.
Otis Thorpe, and the rebound into the hands of Allen Houston. And his steals on Larry Johnson, his third. So the Knicks are sleepwalking right now. Joe Dumars hitting a 3. Joe Dumars now with a 3-point basket. 8 tonight for the Pistons, who have opened up a 65-47 lead. All Pistons tonight. Timeout, Knicks.
So the Washington Bullets riding a 4-game win streak. However, they have lost 16 straight to Phoenix. Trying to end that streak tonight. And Rod Strickland doing his best, pushing the ball up the floor, and then the leave for Juwan Howard. It is a 1-point Phoenix lead late in the first quarter. We'll keep you posted on this one and others throughout the course of the night. But right now, let's go back to the Palace. Dick Stockton.
All right, Vince, thank you very much. And speaking of streaks, Vince, the Pistons have won 6 in a row, and 12 of the last 13, I should say, the Knicks have had that edge. 12 of 13 over the Pistons. They have dominated them, including 4 straight last year, and the Pistons are turning the tables tonight. Right now, let's go up to Dick with a familiar Piston face.
Yeah, this is a familiar face for me. 2.5 years of looking at this bug. Billy, how you doing?
Oh, having a great time watching the Pistons win tonight.
Yeah, now listen, I've seen your new commercials, and I love them, but I hear that you broke your elbow. Is that true?
I was doing a stunt with Grant, and I broke my elbow. I never hurt myself in basketball, but doing TV, I hurt myself all the time.
And you never threw an elbow either, right?
No, I can't throw any now. It's all busted up.
All right, are you surprised with the way the Pistons are playing? Are they going to be able to keep up this perimeter shooting like they're doing?
Oh, they're playing very well tonight, but their defense should keep them in the ball game. They play outstanding defense. They compete for 48 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Billy. Great seeing you.
Good seeing you.
All right, back to Dick and Ubi.
All right, and one of Bill Laimbeer's former teammates, Joe Dumars, hits from outside. He has 11 points, and the Pistons are up by 20 points. Can't imagine that Bill Laimbeer would get hurt, not in basketball, but doing commercials.
Listen, when you think of the amount of rebounds that he garnered during his career, and he could only jump maybe an inch off of the piece of paper, right? Took a lot of body banging.
Joe Dumars with a lay-in, and so off of the steal by Grant Hill, and the Knicks fading fast, trailing 69-47 with under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Hill also has 10 assists in another grand all-round game for Grant. Here's Larry Johnson hitting a 3 from the top. Johnson now with 13 points is the Knicks' high scorer.
Well, Larry Johnson a year ago in Charlotte, was a major threat from three-point range. This year with the Knicks, he's only 8 for 22.
Dumars trying to beat Johnson off the dribble, and Johnson called for his 4th personal foul.
You look at that matchup, there is no way that Larry Johnson can play Joe Dumars. Anytime that there's a clear out, Joe Dumars can take him at will. But you say, well, why are they doing that? They're doing that because Larry Johnson cannot play Grant Hill, so they have to move Chris Giles over there.
So you'd have to say, Hubie, that despite the recent record of Knick domination, the changes on the Knicks, they don't match up well with the Pistons as well as they used to.
But we all know that there are teams in your division, Dick. No matter how good you are, you can have a great record, but there are teams in your league that you have an Achilles heel with. And you can see this is a major matchup problem only because Detroit are making the threes. If they weren't making the threes, it'd be a different story.
And we have a technical foul on the second illegal defense called against the Knicks. Dumars shooting, and taking a look now at the GMC scoreboard to bring you up to date. 70-50, the Pistons lead by 20. And here are the other games. The Bucks leading the Lakers, who shell-shocked after last night's loss to the Bulls. And want to remind you not to forget to tune in to CNN at 11 p.m. for all the scores, highlights, and an in-depth look at the sports issues of the day on the simulcast of CNN SI, the 24-hour sports news network from CNN and Sports Illustrated. Basket by Grant Hill. He has 11, and the Pistons are up by 22.
Now, even if they didn't call the goaltending, Patrick Ewing tipped it right into the basket.
9 on the shot clock. Allen Houston loses the ball to Joe Dumars. So the Knicks turn it over again, and Lindsey Hunter goes in and fouled by Chris Giles going to the basket. And the Pistons are beating the Knicks every which way tonight here at the Palace, and the crowd shows its appreciation.
Well, it's fun time in this building tonight. You love to see three-point shooting as a fan, and you love to see good defense and then getting out on the fast break. And when Detroit is running, and you have Dumars, Grant Hill, Lindsey Hunter in the open floor, hey, they all can finish.
Pistons 18-4 and 10-2 here at the Palace. Their only losses to the Bulls and the Lakers. And talk about finish.
Well, that's just a beautiful, strong move, but you know yourself, if he didn't have contact, he never would have made that because he was short on the jump.
Pistons have not been 15 games over the 500 mark since April of '92. A win tonight would put them 15 over the 500 mark, and their 19th win would be a full month ahead of last year's pace. And you remember, they came back 18 games last year and finished 46-36. So this team on a rise despite the loss of Allen Houston.
Dick, at the stand-up, 2 interesting points. Sub-500 teams, they're 13-0. Then the other major point, their differential is a 7.2. That's 5th in the league. That's telling you that you have a total package. You have offense as well as defense.
Lindsey Hunter now with 23 points, and he can match his season's high of 24 against Vancouver Grizzlies, and he does. So 24 for Lindsey Hunter, whose career high, by the way, is 29, and a 24-point Piston lead. That's their biggest lead of the game. Chris Giles driving in the lane, knocked to the floor, and his foul.
The Detroit fan is starting to come back. They're averaging right at 18,000 a game. This building holds 21,000, right around 21,500. So you like it because the enthusiasm is back. They say, well, why are the fans back? They're back not just because of the winning, but because of the style of play. The team is exciting this year, and we said Lindsey Hunter has really stepped up and is playing like the 10th player picked in the first round when he came out of college.
Free throw by Giles. Lindsey Hunter, and you'll see the comparison right here, and a huge edge over Chris Giles. Lindsey Hunter suffered a broken foot in his first year, and then, of course, the second year, Doug Collins came on the scene. He was kind of a guy who was shuttled to the background, but when they finally decided he was no longer really a point guard, which he had never been before, and a shooting guard, his game came of age.
Also, Dick, when you look at that, Allen Houston was here. You had Joe Dumars, Allen Houston, Lindsey Hunter. You couldn't say, well, we'll move one of them to small forward because you had Grant Hill. So there was less playing time. And remember, Allen Houston came into his own last year and averaged right around 20 points a game. So Allen Houston blossomed, so there was less minutes, and that gives an inexperienced player coming off major injury the year before, he doesn't have the confidence.
Good point. That last word you said, how much does that play in the player's rise?
Well, at this level, it's all the difference, because at this level, you play under duress because of the size and the physical pounding that you take night in and night out. These guys talk about college basketball. Come on, you play 30 to 35 games in a year. Here you play 82 and 8 exhibitions, and a playoff team, you're playing 3 seasons in 1.
Loose ball and another Knick turnover after Grant Hill converted 1 out of 2. The Knicks with 15 turnovers in the game, trailing the Pistons, who have the ball 75 to 51 as we get close to the 5-minute mark. That's 16 turnovers by the Knicks. Hill spinning around. And you want to talk about a highlight basket? How about that one? And the bench loves it, and the crowd loves it. Grant Hill, who Doug Collins told us today, as far as he's concerned, the game is a lot easier for Grant Hill today than it was last year.
That was just an explosive. Just watch how he levels them off and then blows right by him. And then, how about that for a finish?
Missed free throw by Grant Hill.
Now, he is hit hard right there. That was a hard foul, and he still put it in.
Oakley committed the foul. Now Oakley fighting Terry Mills for the loose ball, and it comes down in the hands of, no surprise, Grant Hill.
One team, the guys in blue, are taking it to the hole really strong. The guys in white are sending up everything soft from the foul line down. That is why they cannot get on the foul line with any type of consistency.
Dumars for 3. And there they go again. The Palace explodes. Joe Dumars with 17. Timeout.
Big shot.
I feel like I had my career that showed up that I wasn't satisfied with. Chemistry changed. Different people came in. My role changed again. Asked to score more this year, do some of the things that I've been used to doing in my entire career. And, you know, it's nice to be back in the same role that I'm used to.
Well, you're looking at a total professional. You can see him right now, and it's just nice to see that he's returned, because ever since he came in the league, he was a 2-guard and a defensive stopper who moved over and played the point every bit as well as he did the 2-guard position. And when you think of those 3 guys, Isaiah, Vinnie Johnson, and Joe Dumars, they were really some trio.
The bad boys, they called them, and whatever their reputation was, they put a stamp on the game and maybe kind of changed the tone of the way the game was played at the time. Herb Williams, who has not played as of late, has come in the game at center. Terry Mills, though, keeps it going. Hit from downtown. So Mills and Hunter each with 4 field goals from 3-point range and an 83 to 51 Detroit lead. And Childs throws it away into the hands of Mills, and now Dumars control.
Think about the Knicks. They only give up 91 points a game. They've already given up 83. They love the double team, and tonight, every time they double team, Detroit makes a 3.
No one underneath to defend against Otis Thorpe, and Joe Dumars found him. And it's 85-51, and the Pistons on a 25-4 run with 3:12 to go in the 3rd quarter.
And Detroit very sharp, Dick. The Knicks a full step slow, playing totally soft in the painted area, no inside strength, and their outside guys cannot score off the penetration.
Oakley on the second effort scores to make it 85-53, and as far as the Knicks are concerned, this is a team that if it ever really feels it can challenge in the Eastern Conference, has to play better than they're playing tonight in a back-to-back situation. They beat Utah, but they've come in here and really have given the Knicks no resistance for all intents and purposes. Here's the turnover, and John Starks will lay it in with 2:25.
That's the first one of the game. Yeah, breakaway layup. Anytime that happens, you know your defense isn't working. You're not forcing any turnovers. You're not getting the ball out and getting a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. Nothing is happening because your defense is soft.
And we're getting down to the 2-minute mark here in the third quarter. The Pistons are up by 30 points. Hunter from the corner and starts the rebound for the Knicks with under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Childs out there along with Starks, Oakley, Herb Williams, and Charlie Ward. So a 3-guard offense for the Knicks right now. And a foul, Otis Thorpe bumping Chris Childs. And we want to bring you up to date on what's coming up. NBA action continues on TNT Friday when the Utah Jazz take on the Orlando Magic. Hubie and I will be back on TBS next Thursday when the Magic visit the Miami Heat. And the NBA returns in the new year on TNT January 3rd when Orlando meet the Chicago Bulls.
Orlando, the fact that they're hanging tough. Think about their record without
phenomenal.
Without Hardaway, without Nick Anderson, Scott only playing about 5 or 6 games during the course of the season. It's just been a nightmare, and that team has played tough.
And without Shaq as well. Knicks.
Who's that?
Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Walter McCarty checked into the game, the rookie from Kentucky, the 19th pick in the lineup for the Knicks now.
Well, right now, Van Gundy's saying, you know what, nothing is happening. I'm going to my second unit guys. Let me get McCarty out there along with Charlie Ward and Wallace, and let's see what will happen here.
120, nothing to lose as far as the Knicks are concerned. Dumars high off the glass. That was well placed by Dumars high off of the board. And it's 87-55. Dumars with 19 points in the game. 12 here in this third quarter. And traveling is called against John Wallace. And right now we're going to send it back to our studio. The Magic you've been talking about. Indiana Pacers. We got bonus coverage coming up for you. Right now let's go back to Atlanta.
All right, thank you, Dick Stockton. You're right. We are entering the bonus round. Let's send you down to the O Arena. 82-81 the score there, visiting Indiana on top. About 4 minutes left in the game. Chip Carey, Goose Givens, give you the call.
I understand the feeling as the double teams are coming, and it's such a huge person coming at him.
Welcome those of you watching around the country on Turner Broadcasting. I'm Chip Carey with Jack Givens. Great ball game tonight in Orlando. The Magic and the Pacers 83-82. Orlando playing without Penny Hardaway, playing without Nick Anderson. Tonight have gotten a huge game from Dennis Scott, a season-high 24 points. The Pacers, led by Reggie Miller's 21.
Travel again. So that's, once again, good defense by Ronnie Cycli. And now the turnover situation even up. The Magic committed just 4 turnovers in that first half, had 7 of them in the third period, and after having an 11-point halftime lead, the Pacers down by just 1 coming into this fourth period.
Orlando, the second lowest scoring team in the league, scored its season-high 57 at halftime, and Ronnie Cycli could not hit, got his own miss, pump fakes, missed the dunk. Oh, man.
Well, it's been that kind of game, and anytime you play against the Davis boys on the inside for the Pacers, you know it's going to be a bruising game, and it's certainly been that in this ballgame.
Indiana won a big one, 103-89 in Miami last night. Orlando coming off a 1-4 Western road trip. Travis Best, no. Cycli hauls in his 8th board. He also has 18 points, 6 of 8 from the stripe unofficially, 5 blocked shots, and he's played almost the entire game.
Now, it's interesting here. Darrell Armstrong was in the game, and the Pacers came every time with a big double team.
Wilkins beats his man. Brian Shaw, cross-court feed, Dennis Scott. Sets, fires.
Oh, man.
Won't go.
And he's missed 2. Partially because he's just coming back, doesn't have his legs this late in the game, but that's a huge miss.
Oh, what a tap in by Askew.
Yeah, but you know, you worked all night long to get Dennis Scott shots like that. I mean, you can't ask for a better shot from the guy. And he has missed now 2 straight, wide open behind the 3-point line.
He has yet to score in the fourth. He had 24 after 3. Orlando goes with Brian Shaw. He's playing with the flu tonight. He slips and falls, finds an open spot. Dennis Scott to Wilkins. 2 to shoot, 1 to shoot, 1 dribble, 2 minutes.
Nope, didn't get it off. Boy, and that is another area you see the absence of a Penny Hardaway from your lineup. Well, he is just the kind of guy you can give it to that you know is going to make a good decision and it's going to get you a shot down the stretch. So the Magic now with another turnover here. And fortunately, their defense has been excellent in this ball game. And they haven't been hurt all that badly by them.
Travis Best, stutter step. Cycli rejects another.
And that's an example of it right there. The position defense, especially on the weak side of the floor, has been the saving point for the Magic in this game.
Well, it's in the 2-minute period now. Pacers up 84-83. Ryan Shaw turns corner. Had it poked away. Ronnie Cycli with 7 to shoot.
And it's going to be another one of those possessions where you don't get a shot.
Miller stuffs it home. And Orlando wants to take a timeout. Boy, oh boy, Orlando had 4 turnovers at halftime. They have committed now 13 in the second half of this ball game. They had an 11-point halftime lead, and now they're down 3.
So 86-83 your score there, Indiana, after that win Tuesday night over the Heat, trying to get another one on the road here. And we'll be back with more of this game on TBS in just a moment. Keep it right here.
This could be
91-58 our score from the Palace in Auburn Hills. The Pistons with the lead over the Knicks. We want to send you back down to the O Arena for more bonus coverage. It's the Pacers with a 3-point lead on the road. About 1:39 left in this game. Chip Carey and the Goose, Jack Givens, going to finish it up for you right now.
Nationwide audience watching tonight on Turner.
Well, you knew this was going to be a possession where the Magic would struggle to get a shot off as the shot clock was down. Reggie Miller tried to draw the offensive foul on Ronnie Cycli, but just as quickly as he hit the floor, he's jumping right back up and getting out on the break. He's a heads-up kind of player, and it continues to be the problem for the Magic protecting the basketball and getting shots at the basket down the stretch.
Here's Horace Grant up top. Dennis Scott has had a couple of great looks, hasn't been able to cash them in yet. Ronnie Cycli operates. Orlando down 3. Drop step baseline. Fires it up and in.
Well, and once again, Chip, he does a good job of turning towards the baseline. He has been coming back to the middle. The defense is there for the double team, making it tough, and he sees it coming, goes to baseline.
Another tight affair for Orlando.
On a three-pointer by Reggie Miller is the last thing you want to happen here.
Antonio Davis knocked away by Cycli. Might be 7 blocks. He has been huge on the defensive end of the floor.
There might have been 7 fouls on that play. Yeah, you'll give him 7 blocks, but there might have been 7 hits.
Under a minute now. Orlando plays pick and roll. Gerald Wilkins cut off. Backdoor cut. Dennis Scott. Reverse. No. Cycli and Grant tap it home.
And the first basket of the night for Horace Grant comes on a tip. And he has 10 rebounds to go with his 6 points, but 1 for 4 in this game is Horace Grant.
Magic by 1. Here's Miller. He handles against Wilkins. Reggie, great head and shoulder fake, and he goes to the bank.
That's wonderful right there. Great job, just one-on-one basketball. And he finds a shot for himself like no one else in this league.
Orlando has only 1 timeout left. They're down a point here. 18 seconds to play at home. Ronnie Cycli to catch against Davis. He's fouled, fired it up. Almost a miraculous shot. It would not have counted, says Dan Crawford. And the foul on Antonio Davis. And now you send Ronnie Cycli to the line. He had hit 12 in a row at the stripe before missing his last 2.
Well, it's a flat war down inside. Flat out war. Anytime the Dale Davises and the Antonio Davises take the court, you know if you play inside, you're going to be banged and bruised when the game is over. It's been a fun matchup on the inside. Antonio Davis coming off a 21-point game last night in Miami. Another big effort off the bench for the Pacers here tonight.
That first one is the big one.
Well, it ties the score. But the key is you look up there and you see 11.4 left. And then you look across you and you see Reggie Miller in the blue jersey. So you know there's a lot of time left in this ball game.
Cycli can untie it. Indiana in familiar territory. They have dropped 6 games already this year by 5 or less. Ronnie, no. Rebound, Antonio Davis. He'll play on here. Tie game. Best brings it up. They score and win, or we go to overtime. Best breaks it down in traffic. They don't get a shot off, and we go to overtime.
Really surprised he didn't burn the timeout. Larry Brown, I thought he said, if you make it, call a timeout. They did not. And Antonio Davis started.
All right, there you have it. We're headed to overtime down at the O Arena, tied at 88. We're going to keep you on top of this game and give you more bonus coverage right after we return from break. So keep it here on TBS. I'm Vince Cellini. We want to continue our bonus coverage down in Orlando. Indiana and Orlando tied at 88 heading into the OT. Indiana a perfect 2-0 in overtimes this year. Orlando 0-1 seeking their first win, and Reggie Miller 25 in the game. Dennis Scott 24. Chip Carey and Goose Gibbons going to get you in the OT right now.
And tied up. You see the overtime records there.
Welcome back to Orlando, everybody. Chip Carey, Jack Gibbons. We go to overtime in Orlando. The Magic 0-1 this year. In overtime games, the Dallas Mavericks beat them, scoring 9 points, overcoming a 9-point deficit in the last 2 minutes of the game to beat Orlando. The Pacers 2-0 on the year and trying to complete a 2-0 road trip through the state of Florida. Ryan Shaw, Dennis Scott operate 3D. Works the low post. Can't hit. Rebound grabbed by Indiana.
Well, you know, if you think about those shot attempts Dennis Scott had that were wide open, you just can't imagine him getting any more of those, because the Pacers tonight, they've done one thing. They have stayed on Dennis at the three-point line.
Grant rips down the rebound, his 11th in the game. Horace Grant, rebounding the basketball, has been over 10 rebounds now just twice in his last 9 games.
Well, a good opportunity for Ronnie Cycli to try to take advantage of the defense. But, boy, I still like what I see out of those Davis guys. Boy, they challenge everything. Watch here as Ronnie Cycli takes it.
Ronnie Cycli, shooting two.
Both of them there. Well, that's a pretty good look at the defensive end of the floor by the Pacers on that one. No wonder Larry Brown is upset over on the sideline.
Cycle it with 22. But 26 is his magic high.
You know, when you're playing against shot blockers, and I'm thinking about Mutombo in the game he had last night when he knocked away about 5 or 6 shots in a row. I think it might have been Dallas they were playing. When you play a shot blocker, you have to challenge them. You have to take the ball to the hole aggressively, or they'll eat you up all night. So give Ronnie credit for drawing the foul.
And give him credit for knocking down the free throws to give Orlando the 2-point lead. 1 minute gone by here in overtime in Orlando. The Magic trying to even their record at 10-10. Despite more injuries than any team in the league. Travis Best too strong. Grant rips it down and got hammered hard. Dale Davis popped him again. That's 5 on Dale Davis.
Well, no, I think the ball went over top, so let's take away the foul. Just give the ball to the Magic on the over the top errant shot. I think that's the situation.
That is the call. 3:50 to play in overtime. Screen across for Dennis Scott. A handle on a bounce from Shaw. Vincent Askew, defensive specialist, guards him.
He's a good defensive player.
Dennis fakes, takes right hand. No, he can't buy a bucket. And over the back is Ronnie Cycli.
Well, you know, and as you watch Dennis Scott, and as you realize now, he has missed most of this season. He hasn't played very much. He's just now coming back. This is the 5th game for Dennis Scott. After coming back from the hamstring injury, there's no way he's going to have his legs under him this late in the ball game after playing the number of minutes he has played to this point. So his shots are coming up short.
Here's Askew now. Dale Davis rolled to the bucket, now 10 to shoot. He gave up the dribble, now needs help. Still needs help. Dennis Scott all over it. Antonio Davis dribble drive. He got hand checked by Ronnie Cycli. That's 4 on Cycli.
Number 4, Ronnie Cycli.
4 on Ronnie, 2nd team foul on the Magic and Larry Brown, valuing every possession. Wants to talk about this one. 3:14 left in overtime. Chip Carey, Jack Gibbons from Orlando. We'll be back right after this.
14 left, 80-9.
All right, there you go, Chipper. We will be back. We'll keep you posted on this game in overtime at the O Arena, Indiana and Orlando. And the Magic looks like a good one. We'll be back after the break. Our game at the Palace in Auburn Hills. It is the Pistons out in front of New York, but we want to go back to the O Arena now. 90-88. Orlando with the lead. 3:14 left in the game. Let's take you there.
Chip and the Goose back in Orlando. 90-88. Indiana ball trailing in the game, and Gerald Wilkins with a hand check foul. Boy, they have been calling that very, very tight in this game.
But you know the interesting thing here, Chip, as the double team, as the pick and roll is setting up, I don't know why the Magic don't jump on the low side, force Reggie Miller to go over top of that screen where he can find some help instead of opening up, giving him the baseline. I mean, that's happened at least 4 times here in the second half. And you take Reggie Miller from a 1-for-8 first half into a huge second half and a huge ball game, as now Reggie Miller has 25.
And 7 for 15 in the second half and overtime. Let's see if the Magic make an adjustment now. 90-88. Travis Best handles the rock for Indiana. He's played the bulk of the minutes.
Yeah, and still plenty of time.
10 to shoot.
So Reggie Miller is still my major concern.
Best with a jumper. Can't hit it. Cycling the rebound. His 9th of the game.
And that defensive set by the Magic was very good. And Gerald Wilkins stayed at home on Reggie Miller, protecting the three-point line.
Boy, Best really patty cakes the ball a lot, too. Cycling, couldn't handle the pass from Shaw. Now Indiana runs out. Here comes Miller. Beats Horace Grant, and he reaches in, stops the break.
It's a good foul.
And is guilty of his 3rd personal.
Well, you know, the thing is, Chip, as you talk about these possessions in overtime period, and you understand that each possession is magnified even more so than during the course of a game. And I say that really because both of these teams turn the ball over far too many times. The Pacers at 17 times a game, the Magic at 18. You have to make sure you get a look at the basket here. The Magic have 18 turnovers here in this ball game, and the Pacers have 15.
And again, Orlando, the big stat, had 4 turnovers at halftime for just 2 Indiana points. So they have really made their own life tough. 25 for Reggie. He had 4 at halftime. Tie game again at 90. Orlando playing its 2nd overtime affair. The Pacers their 3rd. Indiana would love to win this game and go 2-0 in Orlando and Miami. 10 to shoot for Ronnie Cycli, who's had a whale of a game. Drop step, fires it up off the window, too strong, got his own miss, lost it to Best. Indiana ball tie game, 2 minutes left in the bonus period.
Good look at defensive philosophies here as you think about Ronnie Cycli not allowed to get to the baseline. You run him to the defensive help, and Reggie Miller's ability to get to the baseline away from the defense. Well, little things make such a difference.
Indiana by 2, 92-90.
And the Magic continue to try to ride Dennis Scott.
0 for 5 since the 3rd quarter from the field. Now 4 to shoot for Dennis. Drop step up under, finger roll no. He thought he got bumped.
Well, I don't know really how you can.
His alley-oop try, a little off target.
You know, if I'm Brian, I'm really thinking seriously about burning a timeout here. But he's going to, since the play did slow down, he's going to just call the play from the sideline.
12 to shoot, 1:13 in overtime. Ryan Shaw turns the corner, floats it up, and he hits.
Unlikely kind of hero, possibly hero here in Brian Shaw. Struggled from the field most of the season. Tonight, though, 5 of 9 from the field.
And couldn't take part in this morning's shoot-around. He's got the flu. Well, that's been the story this year for Orlando as they have been banged up big time. Under a minute, tie game. 7 to shoot now for Askew. Miller pops out against Wilkins. Gerald tries to check it. Reggie's right-hand runner. No, rebound cycling.
Great defense by Gerald Wilkins. And at the 2-guard spot, he's very good on-the-ball defensive player. And he has had one assignment tonight, stay with Reggie Miller. For much of the game he did it, but Reggie is hard to deal with.
And how about this crowd in Orlando? 6 to shoot for Dennis Scott.
He just has to make a shot. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Backs him in. Fall away. Too strong. Rebound back. Tap the Magic burn clock. They hold for the final shot here in overtime.
I'd call a timeout, Chip. I don't know. I just would have to use one. And, yeah, the Magic will call a timeout. I mean, you put yourself in a position to win the game. But once again, as we saw at the end of regulation, if everyone is not on the same page, you might not get a shot.
And that's been a real problem as Brian Hill this year, Jack, has used 9 different lineups. And really, folks around the country might wonder why Orlando is 9-10. Certainly the injuries to Dennis Scott, to Nick Anderson, and Penny Hardaway have been a big...
So 11.3 seconds left in the overtime now, tied at 92. Orlando looking for just its 6th home win of the season. They're coming off a 1-4 road trip, so back home against an Indiana team that beat the Heat last night 103-89 in Miami. Very, very tough game. Those 24 points by Dennis Scott, a season high. We'll be back with a finish in this one and more. Stay with us. Orlando tied at 92, 11.3 seconds left. The Magic with the basketball. Dennis Scott might be a pretty good option right now. Season high 24 in the game. Let's go back to Chip and Goose.
Magic come out of the huddle here. You know the Pacers haven't used their delay of game tactics, so they might in fact step out to try to get a look at what the Magic want to do here. I think also it's important, the timeout situation. If the Magic can't get the ball back at inbounds, they have 2 timeouts to use.
No delay comes. Long inbound to Gerald. 10 seconds left. Miller and Wilkins mano a mano to decide it.
And Gerald is a finisher. The Pacers had one to give, so no big deal there. Now the Pacers have at their access here the use of the delay of game to try to see what the Magic want to do here. I thought that kind of developed a little bit too easily there. So Larry Brown working on the sideline.
Now Brian Hill wants to take timeout. Dennis Scott was set to inbound. We'll see if they design a play for 3D. He has won many a game in a Magic uniform in situations just like this.
Well, so there you have it in the overtime. No Nick Anderson, no Penny Hardaway, but a very game Magic team. They have the basketball. They'll try for a win in just a moment. We'll show it to you after break. In Orlando, 5.9 seconds left in the overtime here, and what a game is taking place at the O Arena. The Magic shorthanded in this game, but putting up a real fight. Dennis Scott with 24 in the game. That's a season high for him. We'll see if the Magic going right to 3D in a moment. And Chip and Goose will give you this call.
In Orlando and Miami. And what a chess match between Larry Brown and Brian Hill. What does Orlando look for here, Jack?
Well, normally this kind of play is designed for the guy taking the ball out of bounds. In this situation, it's Dennis Scott. And there's the delay of game that normally comes here. So the Magic didn't do too much to give away. But what they like to do is get the ball in their hands of the point guard, which is Brian Shaw in this situation. Maybe get some penetration out of Brian. Pick and roll action to spot up Dennis Scott. But normally this play is designed for the guy taking it out of bounds.
Dennis Scott looks to inbound. Still needs help. Finally finds Wilkins. Now 5 seconds to play in overtime. Davis beats him. Gerald hard drive. Floats it up. That's blocked. We go to double overtime.
And maybe,
well, wait a minute. Might put some time off.
Maybe 0.5, 0.6 back on the clock, Chip. But as I say, you just don't challenge the Davis guys. I mean, those guys can defend people inside in the painted area. And once again, you come up with the big play. The other thing there is you know you're not going to get the uncontested shot.
Well, we tried to give you a final down at the O Arena, but now we're going to go to a second overtime. But fear not, we will keep you posted on this game. Go back to the Palace for an update on what is now a final between the Knicks and the Pistons. Keep it here. It may not seem like a long time, but well, let's see just how long it is now. That's Indiana's ball with 0.6 left in the first overtime. Let's join Chip and Goose for what could be the final call.
Come down and go back up. You'd like to just get something in the air that you can catch and tip into the basket. The Magic, on the other hand, have to defend that kind of play because you know it's coming. So the Magic will use the same delay of game tactic you just saw the Pacers use to try to see if the Pacers give anything up. The Magic do have actually they do not have a foul to give, so you can't commit a foul.
So Darrell Armstrong checks in for Ronnie Cycli here with 0.6 of a second to play in the game. Askew to inbound. Dennis Scott rushes to meet him, and that's the delay against Orlando now.
And once again, Chip, you want to pass coming in. If you're Orlando, you want to pass coming away from the basket, nothing at the hole.
Askew looks for help. There it is. Davis catches, fires it up. We go to double overtime.
And a good guy for the Magic, if you're talking about defense, to have catch the ball that far away from the basket.
So it is official now. They are headed to a second overtime down in Orlando. By the way, Detroit 112-78 over the Knicks in our other TBS game tonight. That is the final. Grant Hill, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 steals. We'll go to the Palace for a wrap-up there, too, and have the post-game show. Stick around.
Back here at the Palace of Auburn Hills, the Detroit Pistons end the New York Knicks 7-game winning streak with a 112-78 victory. That's a 36-point bulge. And taking a look now at the McDonald's game recap, the Pistons shot 53% from the field. They were tremendous from three-point range as well. outscored the Knicks off of their turnovers 35-6, and the backcourt tandem of Joe Dumars and Lindsey Hunter lit it up tonight to the tune of 49 points, hitting 18 of 30 from the field. Dick Versace moments ago talked with Lindsey Hunter.
Hey, Lindsey, I got to ask you, it looked like you were shooting warm-up jumpers out there. How'd you get so open?
I don't know. They were rotating to Grant. Grant drew so much attention, and, you know, I just put it in the hole.
Well, 1 point away from your career high. Were you aware of it?
I really wasn't. I didn't know. I just, my stroke was feeling good. You know, I just felt good overall.
Now, everybody wants to know, can this team keep it up?
We don't know. We just have to keep playing. We don't really look at the entire season. We look at it a game at a time, and we come out and, you know, we play good defense and put it on the line every night.
Well, what's the big difference between this year and last year?
I don't know what the big difference is. I know we're tougher defensively. We really come out and guard people and make people work for what they get, and that's a big difference when you make somebody work every night.
All right, Lindsey, thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, back to Dick and Hubie.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. And the Pistons win 112-78. Detroit now 19-4 on the year, 11-2 at home, having a terrific year. And the NBA action continues. TNT Friday, the Jazz take on the Magic. We'll be back on a special night next Thursday, the 26th, when the Magic visit the Miami Heat. And also January 3rd, it'll be Orlando against the Chicago Bulls. Coming up next, Vince Cellini and Cheryl Miller with the postgame show. So for Owen Backfish, Gary Lehman, Hubie Brown, and Dick Versace, I'm Dick Stockton. Good night from the Palace of Auburn Hills.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, very much. We want to continue our bonus coverage taking place in Orlando now. They are in the double overtime. Indiana had a 94-92 lead. Let's join Chip Carey and Goose Givens for the call in the second OT.
She'll fire three. No. Miller rebounds. And Ronnie Cycli, as we welcome back our national audience, just committed the loose ball foul off of Gerald Wilkins' three-point miss. 94-92, Indiana has the lead in double overtime. Reggie Miller just scored for Indiana, and now they take yet another timeout. 3:47 left in double OT. Pacers 94, Magic 92.
Well, there you go. Indiana up by a deuce in the second OT right now. You see Reggie Miller actually 29 points in the game currently. We're going to keep you on top of this one, have much, much more. Folks, if I knew, you'd know. But I know this. We're going to be back with more basketball in a minute.
I have not.
Indiana, your score at Orlando. Less than 4 minutes to go in double overtime. Take it away, guys.
Double overtime. Pacer ball up 94-92. Welcome back to the Orlando Arena. Travis Best. Pull-up jumper. No. Rebound, Dennis Scott.
Well, it'll be interesting here to see what the Magic do, because they've gone with Dennis in every set offense here. The other person that has touched the ball is Ronnie Cycli, so it'll be interesting to see if they try to get Dennis a shot.
There's the old pick and roll for Horace Grant. Not to be. Loose ball. Dennis Scott almost stole it. Derek McKee corrals it at the 3:05 mark for Indiana. Orlando ice cold in overtime. Miller got the screen. Bang! It's a huge three.
Yeah, and on that play, Ronnie Cycli, instead of stepping up and getting some double team on Reggie Miller, he backed off, and you just simply can't do that against a guy like Reggie, who dies for just a little bit of daylight.
32 for Miller, 5-point Indiana game. 2:38 left in overtime. And Orlando ball with 7 on the shot clock. What a game tonight from the Orlando Arena. Here's Cycli and Shaw. 4 to shoot, 3 to shoot. Magic don't know the clock. Dennis Scott had it knocked away, and a violation. Nobody checked the 24-second shot clock.
Yeah, and I that might be partially right, but once again, I think when you're trying to build your offense around one guy who is simply not at this stage of the game, and Dennis has had a great ball game, don't get me wrong, but at this stage of the game, you're looking for Dennis and the Indiana defense knows that, so they're keying on him, and there's not any open shots there for him.
Now Dennis Scott fouls McKee.
Foul number 3, Dennis Scott.
And 4 on Dennis. 2:21 left. Miller to inbound. Reggie Miller approaching a triple-double perhaps, but the way he's shooting it, he has 7 assists.
Yeah, he needs 3 more assists. But in this game and what he's being paid, he's paid to shoot the basketball. We'll get the assist some other time.
Here's McKee. He's double-teamed. Big was cycling. Messed up top. 2:12 left. Antonio Davis jump shooting. Rimmed it out. Oh, that's a huge break for Orlando. Back comes Orlando, down 97-92, 2 minutes left in double overtime.
I mean, when you have just one option in a game like this, the defenses know as well as anyone what's coming.
Horace Grant, dribble drive, gives it up to Wilkins, sets for 3, short. Rebound, back tap, Dennis Scott has it, he fakes. They don't want to give up the tray. Wilkins, another shot, open. Rebound Davis. Oh, what a big board. And then Horace Grant the foul.
You know, as you look at the shot clock and you realize when the Magic got that possession, it was over 2 minutes left. You know, that's plenty of time in an NBA basketball game. So I don't understand why the offense is centered at the three-point line. I mean, you take the ball to the basket, at least you get opportunities to get to the line with a possible foul.
And stop that clock, too.
I mean, it's nice to get the three-point shot if it's there, but that is not the only option, or should not be your only option right now.
Well, Orlando 1 for 13 so far in overtime.
Unless you're Reggie Miller, then you shoot every time.
This tries to beat the buzzer, and that's a violation. So, Jack, you're right. Your point's well taken. 1:08 left. Do you call timeout here down 5?
Well, I would think so, because you have to get a good shot. The one thing you have to do right now, if you're Orlando, is make sure you get a high percentage shot at a basket that comes quickly.
The Magic 1 for 13 from the field in overtime.
So we're not finished until this game is in the double overtime. It's the Pacers currently with a 5-point lead. More on this one and some post-game stuff, too, coming up on TBS. Do not move. Point lead, 109 left in double overtime. The Magic going cold, missing 11 of their last 12 shots. Let's see what happens. Here's your coverage.
Drop back. But for the Magic, when you have 2 of your 3 superstars out, and I'm talking Penny Hardaway and Nick Anderson out of the lineup, everyone knows who has to be the focal point in what you want to get done. And that, of course, with these guys on the floor, is Dennis Scott. Dennis's strength normally comes at the three-point line. But at this late stage of the game, a guy just coming back from injuries, no question he doesn't have the legs. So I think I would look in the hole at Ronnie Cycli. Maybe if he can make a basket, get fouled, you get the 3 points that way. But at least you can get to the free throw line with no time running off the clock.
Yeah, right now the Magic just simply need a score. Wilkins handles. The Magic run a weave up top.
I mean, see, the thing is, the Pacers understand that the three-point shot is coming. So they're all out at the three-point line.
And now Wilkins fouls Travis Best. So Gerald Wilkins commits his 5th foul. And if Indiana can knock down a couple of free throws, they can ice this game with 50.9 left in double OT.
Yeah, Larry Brown has said, hey, let's give them 2. Let's try to force them to shoot 2. I mean, we can play the three-point line and pressure there. I mean, we have a 5-point game. We have the 6th or 7th best free throw shooter in the league, and Reggie Miller, who on any out-of-bounds play, he's going to catch the basketball, and he's going to go to the line and make free throws for you. So Larry Brown's saying, yeah, y'all keep firing up the threes. We'll play you out there, and then if you make them, you deserve to win this game.
Travis Best with 16 points on the night, along with 5 rebounds, 4 assists. But the story of this game for Orlando, Jack, A, running out of gas, but B, all of those costly second-half turnovers. They did such a great job in the first half. Only 4 turnovers, but 15 in the 3 quarters and 2 overtime since. Dennis Scott heaves, can't hit. Back iron rebound, Antonio Davis.
And you have to give it to Reggie here, because he can bring it up the floor, and the Magic will not be able to foul this guy because he's going to make them. Now you run at him and foul him.
And finally that comes. The Magic, Jack, 1 for 15 in overtime. Horace Grant stops the clock and is guilty of his 5th foul. Well, for the Magic, their frustrations continue to come oh so close. Without Nick, without Penny, they take Indiana to double overtime here at home and lose for the 6th time this season. And for the first time since the 92-93 season at home, have lost 3 consecutive games in this building.
Well, but you talk about it. Just think about Reggie Miller here. He goes 1 for 8 in the first half. 1 for 8, has 6 points. Now you look at his totals. He's 11 for 28. He's had better shooting nights, but none more effective. 34 points and 12 rebounds for Reggie Miller.
All right, the Pacers up by 7 now. You see the time left in the game. We're going to try to put the wraps on this one in double overtime after break here on TBS. Keep it with us. And bonus coverage in just a moment. Orlando hosting Indiana. They are in the double overtime, and you see the score. Indiana up by 7 in that game. Let's see if we can finish things off for you.
Injury. But tonight, Indiana, with a very gritty, gutty performance, down 11 at halftime, came roaring back with a huge 3rd quarter behind the shooting of that man, Reggie Miller, who tallied 28 of his 32 in the 2nd half and the 2 overtimes.
Yeah, we can give Reggie a lot of credit because he did come on. He kept his head up, and he didn't give up after scoring just 4 points, 1 of 8 from the field in the first half. But I really, when you talk to Pacers and winning, I have to look on the inside and see Antonio Davis and Dale Davis and understand, boy, they really took away the inside game for the Magic.
Best rebounds, and that's going to do it. Antonio Davis got popped in the face. Horace Grant fouls out of the ball game. Grant's struggles continue for the Magic. In his last 6 games now, Horace averaging about 7 points per night. He had a fine game of double-digit rebounds, but Grant this season for Orlando has played the small forward, he's played the power forward, and all those shots that have him licking his chops wide open off the screen and roll have not been there for the most part this year.
Well, and you talk Horace Grant, you really have to understand here that he's been forced to play out of position all season long.
Right.
And especially since Nick Anderson went down. And it's a whole lot different when you're playing that small forward spot and you have to get out on the floor and you have to chase those smaller, quicker guys. It takes you out of everything you've done all your career. And Horace Grant normally gets a lot of points on putbacks, a lot of points around the basket. But when you're out there and you're guarding people and you're thinking, now this is different offensively than what I've done all this time, it kind of messes with your mind a little bit. And that certainly has been a factor here with Horace Grant's game.
101-92, Indiana sees Dennis Scott open, and he hits that shot. Boy, that just kills you. He's 0 for 6 until that shot, and he makes it when the game's hopelessly out of reach, it appears. And Dennis now with 27 points. Brian Shaw fouls, stops the clock. 12.5 seconds left, 101-95. And Brian Shaw fouls out of the ball game. The Magic signed Kenny Smith for the remainder of the season. Smith in uniform tonight for the Magic, has not seen any action. Orlando will have practice tomorrow, then entertain the Utah Jazz Friday night here at the Orlando Arena. Derek Strong will now be summoned for the final 12.5 seconds of this game. So for Indiana, Jack, a huge win for Orlando. A very frustrating night to come oh so close and lose to a team like Indiana.
Yeah, well, you know, as you look at what has happened in this ball game, I think the lesson for the Magic is, number one, you protect the basketball. Yep. You can build a lead, and you can feel pretty good about yourself. But as soon as you start giving it away, particularly against some of the better teams in this league, and Indiana right now is playing like one of the better teams, you hurt yourself.
Armstrong finds Derek Strong, his desperation 3 short, and that's the ball game. Indiana wins a big one in double overtime, 102-95. Orlando hopelessly outmanned, gave it one whale of an effort, but when it comes right down to it, the turnovers were their own undoing. A gritty effort.
All right, not enough pop for the Orlando Magic at home, falling in 2 overtimes to Indiana. Indiana is now a perfect 3-0 in overtime games. Orlando 0-2 when playing the extra session. But wait, there's more. The postgame show is on its way after this. Well, so much for the Knicks and Pistons on TBS. So much for bonus coverage. Now it's post time. This is the TBS post-game show. It has arrived. Hi, and welcome to The Performance. I'm Vince Cellini, along with Cheryl Miller. And remember, you may know who we are, but we know who you are. Understand? I think you do. Well, you know the Lakers story from Tuesday night. It was like a parent on Christmas Eve doing toy shopping, and the only item left is the Tickle Me Rodman doll. Well, that sounds scary. After folding with a 19-point lead in Chicago and losing in the overtime, the Lakers had to bounce back tonight in Milwaukee. Had to bounce back for themselves, their confidence. Nick Van Exel shaking Sherman Douglas, tosses in that floater there. And the Bucks are with the early 2-point lead. Still the first. Eddie Jones just flying to the rack. Andrew Lang, what are you thinking? Bucks with a 6-point lead. Now, Vin Baker missing the lay-in. Scramble for it, the all-star Vin Baker. Doesn't miss the second time, and he is fouled. Now in the second quarter, a bit later, Van Exel alley-oop to, who is that, Cheryl?
Oh, the big fella, Shaq.
That would be to Diesel. He had 26 of the first half alone. But Glenn Robinson, the big dog, up to the task tonight scoring-wise. Shakes Eddie Jones and then going to bury a jumper. 58-50. It's the Bucks with the lead. Third quarter, Nick the Quick pulls up. That is a long, long three-pointer. It was a one-point game there. But Glenn Robinson continues to answer back in this game. Robinson with 39 points at this point in the game. You see 7.5 minutes left, and it is the Lakers with a 1-point lead. Shaquille O'Neal 37 at this point. And again, we'll keep you posted on that game in just a little while. But Cheryl, you know, this game, here's a Laker team, a young Laker team. They're coming off a brutal, brutal loss. How important was this for them tonight?
Oh, this is huge for them, just from the sense that they came back emotionally and have matched the intensity of Milwaukee. Like you said, this is a very young Laker team that traditionally plays great against the big teams, and then when they step into another game with a team that doesn't have as much talent, they step down to this level. Shaq, 35 points. This was the type of effort that they need. Big win if they can pull this out.
Right. They are 1-5 in the second game of the back-to-backs. Are the Lakers trying for that 2-5 tonight in Milwaukee? All right, New Jersey had big problems with their big people. Sean Bradley out again tonight with a sprained right knee, suffered back on Saturday. Jason Williams also banging a knee last night against Toronto. An examination today was inconclusive. He'll have the MRI tomorrow, and the fear is possible fractured kneecap. We'll keep you posted. But the Nets, we do know this, at Gund Arena tonight, and without your other big people, Yinka Dare is center stage. And Robert Pack to Yinka Dare. 4-3. Nets with a lead. That is an early score. Then Kendall Gill to Kerry Kittles, who had a hot hand in the first quarter. A dozen for Kittles. And the Nets had a 10-point lead. Ed O'Bannon now. I don't know if he wanted window on that shot or not, but he got it. The Nets still holding a 10-point lead. How about Bobby Sura? Oh, man. You got to get some help on D. Bobby with the easy basket there ties it up at 30 apiece. Third quarter, watch Terrell Brandon going to work. Brandon. And then Brandon, another jumper there. It's a tough one. More Terrell Brandon. Okay. This time he's going to go to the basket, get the layup and the foul. Take another look at this, Cheryl. It's absolutely
man,
outstanding.
Talking about splitting the defense. Look at the hang time. Santa Claus is, oh, man, that's a great shot.
High off the window. Bobby Sura. He knows no limits to that shot. Yes, indeed. Look at the Cavs. The Cavs have joined this one suddenly. They're doing a little scoring on those Cavaliers. 99-81 the final here. Brandon, 28 points in the game. Kittles led the Nets with 20. Cavs on a 3-game win streak. They've scored 101, 101, and 99. So they are very, very hot indeed. All right, the Knicks. They had won 6 in a row and 12-13 against Detroit, but not to be. In a game you saw here on TBS, Grant Hill with the triple-double, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, oh yes, and 5 steals. In Detroit, now 8-0 against the Atlantic. But Cheryl, coming into this game, the Knicks had won 7 in a row overall, and trying to wrestle away that divisional lead from Miami. What's better for the Knicks now, other than they're angry and playing better because of that anger?
Well, Jeff Van Gundy has really tinkered with the offense. Number one, they've moved LJ to the #1 option in the post. When he doesn't have anything, he swings it over and gives it to Patrick Ewing. That's all well and fine, but LJ, you've got to be a little more aggressive once the ball comes down to you. You have a career average of 20 points. You're only averaging 12. He has to be more focused and be more aggressive and take the shots. It has to start in the paint and take the pressure off of Patrick Ewing.
That's good advice, Cheryl.
Why, thank you.
Nice little breakdown there. All right, the postgame gauntlet pushes on in a moment. Then we're back with more lights, including Washington needing some sunblock. Phoenix has handled the Bullets for almost a decade. Juwan doing what he could. We'll show you that and more as the postgame show motors.
I have now.
post-game show and a long, long losing streak for the Bullets against the Suns. Danny Ainge hoping that continues. Rod Strickland hits that jumper right there, and then watch Chris Webber go to work. He's on his double tear and going to follow his own miss and put it back in. Then when in doubt, Juwan Howard's always there. Rod Strickland finding Juwan, and Juwan with authority. Harvey Grant now. Shot hits this one at the buzzer at the end of the first. And Danny, a little nervous there. Now Bryant feeding Michael Finley, and that's going to be the mush. And then Sam Cassell. I guess if you go from one basket to the other, you can interpret it as coast to coast. That's what they tell me. And then Finley from Chapman, and that is a finish there. So how about Washington? They haven't beaten the Suns since '88, and they're trailing in the third quarter here by 6. See the night Howard is having, and Finley stepping up for the Suns in this one. Okay, let's bring you up to date or give you some other games here. We got the Kings and the Nuggets, and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf back in Denver, and then trying to hit Polynice, throws it away, and then Mark Jackson finds an open Dale Ellis, misses the 3. Jackson, alley-oop, Antonio McDyess. It's the Nuggets with a 7-point lead. Jackson, nice dish to Hammonds. The miss. The Kings are running now, and Hurley, Michael Smith with a finish the other way. So the Nuggets really struggling. They had lost 10 in a row coming into this game. Jackson, no look to Irvin Johnson for the slam. Nuggets with a 10-point lead. Mitch Richmond trying to get the Kings back. That's how you do it. Let's see where we're at right now in the ball game. In Sacramento, trailing Denver 67-60. You see 11.5 minutes left in that ball game. All right, moving along. Portland and the Sonics. And that is Clifford Robinson doing some damage right there. See what the Sonics come back with. Sam Perkins, why not? When in doubt, go out to him. Perkins knocking that one down. And there you go, 28-27 in the second quarter. It's the Sonics with the lead. They have won 11 of the last 14 against the Blazers. Trying to keep that one going. What else do we have for you score-wise? Okay, Minnesota and Golden State, they are just getting underway. 2-0, that score could change. And the Lakers and the Bucks, the game we talked about earlier on the post-game show. There it is, the Lakers really taking charge. Now 2:18 left in the game. Glenn Robinson doing what he can, and Shaq 37 in that one as well. Folks, I think that's going to just about do it for us. For Cheryl Miller, I'm Vince Cellini. Friday night, Utah at Orlando on TNT. Thanks for being with us with a post-game show. We'll see you next time. So long.